testing. Okay. All right, y'all. We're banging this shit out. We're doing it. We're getting it done. We're getting her done. Okay. Hi, kitty. I've got an adorable kitty here, guys. So there may be an adorable kitty or two. Good. Sound is okay. There may be an adorable kitty. It may be an adorable puppy. Do not blame me if you see adorable babies. Okay. That's all I can tell you. Okay. Anyway, pardon me. We're just gonna get started. I just had my dinner of sorry. A little cloud cakes I'm sharing with my dog and lettuce rolls. Fabulous stuff. Fabulous stuff. I am going to set this here so that I can see if anybody's commenting without having to reopen the moderation tools in front of me, because like I said, I would prefer to really start powering or finish up, if anything, powering through Project 2025. Pardon me. I do have to quickly open up one more moderation tool, then I'll be good to go. Okay. Woo, that's bright. No, ma'am, you don't need to know my fucking location. I can tell you that much. No, you don't. Anna, figure out whether you're going to be up here or not up here. I don't want to be scratched the fucking back. You need to watch your little pretty butt.
That balloon is looking a little bit less flaccid than it did on the approach over.
Y'all. Give me one sec. We're turning on our admin.
The first
sorry,
time
Kitty,
after we play with you,
that
I haven't played with you in.
Kitty. Got a fucking adorable puppy over here, and he is looking like he's begging for more cloud cake, and he's adorable, but we don't want him to get upset tum-tums and bum-bums. We don't want him getting no tum-tums and bum-bums. And so we are not going to have no more of that right now. He's very upset about it. Poor puppy. Poor Bubba. Poor Bubba. Poor Toby. All right. Give me one reason. Actually, give me one second. I'm turning on my other admin account here. Actually, give me one second. I'm turning on my other admin account. Just want to make sure volume is down. There we go. Hey, what the absolute poo-poo. Okay, at least they give you the opt-out preferences now. That's nice. That's nice. All right, guys. Is that better with the lighting? I don't fucking know. I feel like the lighting's off. I may change the lighting up real quick here. Give me literally 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. Or frankly, do you? Okay. All right. Seriously, bro. Hi, baby. Okay. Go ahead and get into our lighting and make sure our lighting's on point. Oh my god, my body hurts, you guys. I swear to god, it keeps kicking me out of my fucking lighting account. Like, fuck you, buddy. Sorry, guys. There's, of course, problems and issues and problems afoot. Also, fun and fresh piece of information. But if y'all don't know this already, there is a bit of an issue if you're ever using a Proton.me email address to receive like a verification code, because you can't use Authy or whatever else. you may not get your verification code. It's not that it's not necessarily going to be in your spam folder or anything. It's just you might not fucking receive it because they do things a little differently at Proton. So I'm right now, that's what I have to do to log into my freaking lighting account, which great. Thanks so much. All right, one sec. I swear to God. Like, and honestly, how like ancient is that? Oh, check your email for your one-time password. Like, I'll get right on that for you. So it's such new technology. Give me one sec. I'm really trying to fix my lighting up here, but I have to get into my lighting account, and the only two-factor they have available with said lighting account is fucking email, because it's apparently 2010. All right. For fuck's sake, it's just not showing up. Lord, you guys. Oh my God. So fucking annoying. Okay, one sec. Try that again. Nope. Nope. It is just not showing up. That's great. Yay. I'll just go fucking jump into Lake Michigan. It's fine. Jesus Christ. That's embarrassing as hell. Anyway, let's just go back to it, and I'll just sit here like an asshole waiting for my verification. So, oh, no, please. No up and down. Stay here, would ya? Could you stay here? No up and down, please. It's just too much for mommy. I don't like being scratched and walked all over and blah, blah, blah. She's not going to listen. She's going to jump down and then come right back up. Right, kitty? Jump down, come back up. Okay, that's about what you're going to do. That's what kitty cats do around here. Okay. Are you getting down, honey? Okay. There you go, my love. You're safe. You're good. Ugh. She'll be right back up any second. Okay, back to it. Personnel. Now, again, we're talking about the Office of General Counsel, which is for the EPA. And as we've discussed here, the Office of General Counsel seems to be like a fix-all for the people who are writing Project 2025, but also it seems to be something that they're trying to include in every agency in order to if I understand correctly, to bypass, okay, actual congressional approval of actual leadership for each agency. So, por ejemplo, they've gotten rid of the head of CISA. They've gotten rid of the Attorney General. They still only have an acting Attorney General, right, of the U.S. They've gotten rid of the head of a bunch of different agencies and are only using counsel literally to help the acting director do their job. And again, this seems to be a way that they feel they can get around congressional approval, which is not strictly speaking legal, but this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. And again, I'm checking my email for that god dang one-time fucking code. Jesus squeezes. It's getting to be super fucking annoying. I'm just gonna open my email up one more time. Oh my God, you guys. Seriously. One moment, please. It's got to be DKIM or some sort of a email box rule thing. I wonder if it went to my recovery email instead. We'll see. Okay. Let's check. Let's see. It did not. Give me one sec. I just want to fix the lighting because the lighting's a little fucky right now. Bear with me. So anyway, they're trying to get around some of the actual necessary procedures here, right? God, I've got cat fur in my nose. It's great. It's great, guys. Highly recommend. By literally just being like, oh, we'll place like an OGC representative, attorneys, general counsel in all of these branches of the government and agencies, right? Which, I mean, you know, okay, I guess. It's not like legal, but it's not strictly speaking not legal. Okay, give me one sec here. Jesus Christ, what a fucking pain in the ass. Seriously? What the fuck? Oh my god. Are you shitting me right now? Lord. Just a fucking pain. Yeah. I'm just trying to make sure I can get in and kind of just make sure that we can get a hold of our one-time passwords, because what the fuck? Lord have mercy. There's gonna be a whole ass thing right now while I'm trying to fucking do this. While I'm trying to live stream, isn't it? Okay, let's see. What? God, fucking cat fur everywhere. Ah. Okay. Anyway. All right. I don't know what email address that's going to come from, so I can't really add it to my whitelist. Gah, y'all. Let's just see if it's a storage issue, a delivery issue. Good God, all I'm trying to do is change my fucking lighting here. Hello. One sec. What the fuck? Try it on my other device. No such luck. A fucking pain. Let's just see though if that is sending. Nope, it's not sending to my recovery email either. Okay. And it's not sending to my actual email. This is bizarre. Honestly. Fuck. One more time, and then I'm just going to go on with shitty lighting. Apologies. God damn it. Stupid fucking thing. Oh my god. Bro, come on. Okay. I'm just going to try one more thing here. For fuck's sake. Even my test emails weren't being received? What the fuck? Yeah. The fuck? Okay, this is so weird. Just give me one sec. This is not great. What the fuck? Literally, I'm over it. We'll just read with our shitty ass lighting, our horrible lighting, and all of the mistakes we're experiencing here with our stream. Okay. Oh, while we're here, I am gonna share the Discord again. I know folks have asked. So we'll just... No, ma'am. No, ma'am, Toby. I love you, buddy, but we're not doing that right now, bub. Okay. Well, yeah, this is definitely a problem. Gosh, I'm not even getting emails here. Bubba? Toby? You may be quiet. You were just outside. I don't want to hear about it. This stanky boy. This stanky fucker. Okay? I don't want to hear about it. But if you want to be cute and jump in your chair, I'll put a camera on ya. This is wild. Otherwise, I think I'm going to ask you to leave, Bubba. Toby, do you need to be asked to leave? Should I lock the door? Should I invite you to leave and lock the door? Jesus Christ. This asshole. Okay. Having some issues with the stream, it seems like. I apologize. We're back. We're good. Discord's been shared. And yeah, I think we're good to go. Yeah, I'm still waiting on those emails to come through. That's a little troubling, frankly, because hi, buddy. Thank you, honey. Thank you, Bubba. Go ahead up. Hop. Hop. Go ahead, hop. Go ahead, hop. So I wonder why that's not wanting to work. What the fuck, you guys? It keeps telling me my inbox is full. It's not. It's literally not. Like, hello. It's not. It's not. Do 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 do. One more time, you guys. I swear to God, if it says that again, I don't know. Like, it ain't full. I've deleted a bunch. It's not full. Jesus Christ. Fuck it. I'm just upgrading. I'm sure it won't do jack shit, but we'll see. That way I can at least control my own goddamn lighting. Fuck's sakes. Lord have mercy. Shit. Swear to God, it's always something. Still having some problems here. Yeah, I was hoping that message would go through since my other messages have come through, but it's not looking that way right now. See if my backup address is getting this. Nope, nope. Lord have mercy, y'all. That's looking spam. Archive. Jesus. Seriously. Well. No lighting for us. We will do this in the dark. So back on to this. Oh, by the way, Discord is where we're doing note taking on whiteboard. So personnel, and again, this is mainly for the EPA and how they're trying to get this everything skirted around by this OGC, Office of General Counsel, like nonsense. Personnel objectives are to review OGC resources to consider reorganization of other attorney functions and leadership for consolidation into a cross-cutting issues law office. They say there's a cross-cut law. Review telework policies, i.e. work from home, etc. And attorneys with permanent duty stations not at EPA headquarters or a regional office. Consider invoking the rotation of SES managers within OGC and ORCs. My eyes are bothering me. I apologize. Part of it's the lighting. Hey. To other EPA offices where appropriate. By the way, the telework policy thing was a huge issue with DOJ. They basically just commanded everybody to come back into work in person, even though their offices couldn't accommodate that many people. So that was fun and fresh. Kidding. It was a shit show. And also it grievously fucked up the flow of traffic in Washington, D.C. So that was fun. That was good. Yeah, here we go. I'm just going to mark the beginning of each little new idea or new checkpoint here with a tilly in our notes, right? Okay. Just gonna mark it. Oh, for cunt's sakes. I'm gonna mark it with a chili. And oh my god, the cat fur is everywhere. Oh, it's sticking to me. It's sticking to me. Okay. It's in my nose. Sorry. It's on my cheeks. It's in my hair. Yuck. Even though Anna's the softest little kitty cat ever, it's kind of annoying. So, wow, still no lighting email. That's fun. Jesus Christ. Okay. One more resend. One more. We'll try it. It's not going to do anything, but we'll try it. Fuck. The cat fur, man. Yep, it's just not coming through. So monitor all external communications conveying a legal position. I mean, any agency or group or professional, office, company, what have you, that utilizes any kind of network or cybersecurity is already going to be doing that. It's already going to be doing that. Like, this is already happening. I don't know why this is even being addressed. Literally, that's already happening. Do not allow public events at which the agency puts forth its legal position unless they are specifically approved. Again, already happening, but okay. For example, agency webinars on sensitive issues. Budget. Office of Office of General Counsel's budget will increase with consolidation of FTE funding that follows attorneys who come from other EPA offices. I think this is worth being put in our notes. Again, notes in the whiteboard, which are up here on the screen, are also available in Discord. The Discord link is in the chat, but it's also in the description of this live stream. Ugh, my eyes are killing me. Okay. Oh, fuck. Office of Mission Support, OMS. Just put this up. A magnet on the back of my phone keeps picking up like metal objects every time I set it down. There we go. Anywho, look, one more time. I'm gonna try to get my darn lighting app going. Fuck, y'all. For shit's sake. Nope. Ain't coming through. Well, I don't know how I'm ever going to control my lighting again if it's never going to come through. That's fucking wild, you guys. What the hell? God damn it, Proton, you dumb bitch. Okay. This is really fucking irritating, I've got to say. Like, what in the absolute shit? This is wild. Okay. Budget. OGC's budget, again, Office of General Counsel. OGC's budget will increase with consolidation of FTE funding that follows attorneys who come from other EPA Environmental Protection Agency offices. Okay. Reassess duplicative skill sets with the consolidation and allow for attrition if needed. Obviously, firing people is a priority, unfortunately, in Project 2025, and not out of necessity. Yeah, I copied that. What the heck? Okay, now we're going to put in Office of Mission Support, OMS. So consider reassess duplicative skill sets with the consolidation and allow for attrition if needed. And then under that, consider allocated resources for regional recruiting to increase geographic diversity from law schools from each state. Yeah, they're really obsessed with building out the offices of general counsel, and kind of using those as like de facto, like I said, Congress not needed, bodies of government, which is great. Feels kind of icky and illegal because it is kind of icky and illegal. We've got Office of Mission Support, OMS. OMS leads the agency's core mission support functions to improve efficiency, coordination and customer experience for internal customer stakeholders and the public, including protection of EPA's facilities and other critical assets nationwide, acquisition activities, contracts, grants management, human capital, information technology, and information management activities. Grant reform. EPA now awards up to $30 billion in grants annually, up to half of the agency's annual budget. Of these funds, $500 million is awarded as discretionary. This grant making, discretionary and otherwise, is driven by ideology. Leftism, you guys. Leftism. Oh my God. It's driven by ideology instead of need. Of particular concern is the practice whereby numerous small dollar grants are administered to a great number of grantees. What's a great number? Tell us more. While larger grants are given to academic institutions, as a result, grant funds produce little to no meaningful improvements in the environment and public health, and instead fund questionably relevant projects. At elite private academic institutions. See, their institutions are like folksy and down to earth, but our institutions are elite. They're elite. Don't you know? They're elite and bad. They are bad and elite. Once I'm here, I just want to check this one more time. Dang it, come fucking through. Lord, y'all. It's making me crazy, you guys. Okay. Just a second. Good boy, Toby. I love you. What a good doggy. He's so gentle. What a well-behaved young puppy. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean up my archive. Just in case that's an issue. I don't think it is. God damn. Yo, what the hell? This is still trying to fool around and tell me that I have no new emails, even though I've got space in my inbox and I need to fucking control my lighting. Good God. So, my goodness. My goodness. We'll try that. We'll try our backup email one more time. God, please tell me I won't be able to turn my lights on and off ever again. I'll have to reset them completely. Otherwise, I'm sorry. This is just so fucking stupid. Like, Lord, come on. Come on. Don't do me like that, Proton Mail. Anyway, our institutions are elite and out of touch, and theirs are folksy and down to earth. Steps should be taken. So, our institutions produce invariably radical environmental research. It's radical because it's from us. Us being anyone who disagrees with them in the moment. That means if you disagree with them, you're leftist, you're communist, Marxist, socialist, cultural Marxist, and you're bad. Frankly, not my words, it's theirs. I would never say that.
What? Shut up.
I would never say that. This is just wild and out of pocket. Steps should be taken to ensure that grants are awarded based on need instead of ideological affiliation or academic preference. Specifically, EPA should institute a positive review. Why? For all grants over a certain threshold. Put a political appointee in charge of the grants office. What did I say about that Office of General Counsel thing? Political appointee in charge of the grants office to prioritize distribution of grants to those who are most in need and toward projects that will tangibly improve the environment. Cap the number in dollar amounts of grants at the Office of Research and Development. Cap the number in dollar amounts of grants that the Office of Research and Development can award and require that they be reviewed by the administrator's office. This is crazy talk. This is actual crazy talk. Yeah, no, this is just insano talk at this point, but okay. And for some reason that didn't get copied in properly, so yeah, let's just go ahead, make sure that pardon me, that this got copied and pasted into the notes appropriately. It doesn't look like it did, so oh, my eyes are bothering me. Real quick here. Oh, damn it. Okay. Just gonna make sure that each new bullet point here doesn't just have a weird L in front of it. Okay, so just gonna add to the top of this, right? Yeah. on a crosscut song. Pardon me, I've got something that fell down my shirt. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, this grant reform is just incredibly biased and strange. It's like seesaw funding handed over to private entities and capitalists and corporations. Seesaw taxpayer funding of everything. Cap the number and dollar amounts of grants at the Office of Research and Development. Make sure that everything they're awarding is being reviewed by the administrator's office. Put everything on pause. Office of the Chief Financial Officer. That's a fun thing to say. OCFO. Okay, so OCFO, Office of the Chief Financial Officer, formulates and manages EPA's annual budget. One sec, we just have to ban some motherfuckers. All right. And performance plan coordinates EPA's strategic planning efforts. Develops EPA's annual performance and accountability report and implements the Government Performance and Results Act. Needed reforms. EPA has been audited by the agency's Inspector General for decades, well beyond accepted norms for private sector financial audits. Audit teams should be diversified. Staffing and assignments, especially at the senior level, should be reviewed and streamlined. And the office should consolidate space to save agency costs. For example, 6 offices need 6 security contracts to protect employees when 1 contract would suffice. Hello, does that not make sense that you should let people work from fucking home in that case? No. Instead of that, they're sending everyone back to work at the office to show everyone how not doable that is. It's like, what point are we trying to prove? All government functions, by way of us making them unworkable, are therefore unworkable and should be sent over to private corporations instead? Be so for real. So, personnel, industry norms. They're trying to create the industry norms here. Personnel. The Deputy Chief Financial Officer position is currently reserved for a career official. That's bad, you guys. People who've worked in public service are bad. But political appointees may serve as associate CFO, special advisor, and other senior officials. In addition to evaluating whether the Deputy Chief Financial Officer position should be reserved for a career official, a new administration should, i.e. Donald Trump, i.e. right now in his second administration, since this was written before he took office, obviously, as a plan for when he did, should immediately fill these positions with political appointees and establish a new political leadership position for appropriations liaison, which is currently being overseen by career employees. Not career employees. It just doesn't make sense, and there's no way to make it make sense. So we're not going to try. We're just going to keep restating their obvious ham-fisted fucking plan to make it look like everything is inefficient so that they can essentially hand everything off to private corporations. That's the entire game here, folks. Hand everything off to private corporations. Hand it all off. One sec. Just gonna make sure I don't have noise leaking here. I think I do. One sec. Do I have noise leakage? I think I might. I'm not sure. And I'm gonna grab make sure I don't have noise leaking here. I think I do. I have noise leakage? I think I might. I'm not sure. And I'm gonna grab nobody knows where it went but Jesus. Okay, that's fun. Is it over here by chance? It might be. Over here by chance? Sorry. It might be. I may have moved it. I apologize. And hey, hi, howdy. Welcome. I apologize. Everything is in such like tight quarters over here. So yeah. Everything is in such like tight quarters over here. So hey, what the hell? Hey, what the hell? The fuck, you guys? I literally just had it over here. Yeah, one sec. Looking for it. Fuck, you guys. I literally just had it over here. Yeah, one sec. Looking for it. Notification. Okay. I do have one of them here, so I'll just take the one that I can find. Literally everything is in super tight quarters here. I have the weirdest like setup for my house. It's just it's like the weirdest fucking layout. One of them's here. We're gonna use the one that we have. Oh, and I think I'll just turn on my ring light by hand because what the fuck? Layout. Because what the fuck? We can't access our fucking smart portal right now. By hand because what the fuck? Because what the fuck? We can't access. Okay. There we go. Smart portal right now. This one over here. Okay. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Yep. Still no OTP. That's wild, you guys. Perfect. Absolutely wild. I cannot even imagine what their OTP, whitelisting, blacklisting, DKIM, SPF is like. I cannot even imagine. Anna, you okay? What their whitelisting, on the baby. DKIM, okay, baby. SPF is like. All right. Mommy loves you. Okay. Here we go. Back at it. Hey, like, I'm gonna check my spam folder literally just one more time because here we go. I guess why not or whatever. Hey, like, I'm gonna check my spam folder literally just one more time because y'all, come on now. I guess why not or whatever. Come on now. Yes, why not or whatever. fuck? Jesus Christ. Now we've got a bunch of fucking bullshit here. Jesus. The fuck? Jesus Christ. Now we've got a bunch of fucking bullshit here. Oh my fuck, are you serious? Oh my fuck, are you serious? Motherfucker. Motherfucker. If I like added it to another app through like SMTP or something, I wonder if that would work at all. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just thinking out loud. I added it to another app through like SMTP or something. I wonder if that would work at all. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just thinking out one more time with this. What the fuck? This is absolutely wild to me. Yeah, we'll have to try IMAP or SMTP later. See if we can sign in and get around that. Literally, all I was trying to do is control my fucking lighting so people could say they. Let's go ahead and get back to it. So, okay, baby kitty. You're right. You don't look like you're doing well. Let's go ahead and get back to it. So, okay. Do you need me? You're right. You don't look like you're doing well. She sleeps with her eyes open. Literally makes me feel like I need to check her for a pulse. You okay? Oh, you're okay because you're being cute with your little tootsies. Okay, good. Just check. Sleeps with her eyes okay, open. Baby, I love you. Literally. Obviously, as you can tell, she is my special little baby. Budget OCFO is responsible for drafting and sharing the president's budget with Congress. The CFO often testifies along with the administrator. Efforts to simplify the budget request could improve the overall transparency and general understanding of the agency's work. Conclusion. A more conservative EPA that aligns with the policies outlined in this chapter will lead to a better environmental future without unintended consequences, like it will prevent unnecessary expenditures by the regulated community, allowing for investment in economic development and job creation, which are keys to thriving communities. Cutting EPA's size and scope will deliver savings to the American taxpayer, really. Improved transparency will serve as an important track to ensure that the agency's mission is not distorted or co-opted for political gain. Oh, kind of like it's being right here and now. Got it. Just checking. Got it. Importantly, a conservative EPA will deliver tangible environmental improvements to the American people in the form of cleaner air, cleaner water, and healthier soils. Pardon? Condamnez-moi? Like, how? What is this healthier soils, cleaner air, and water that you speak? That's ridiculous. Thanks for that. Oh, kind of like it's being right here. Yeah, no, that's just checking. Got it. Importantly, a conservative EPA will deliver tangible environmental improvements to the American people in the form of cleaner air, cleaner water, and healthier soils. Pardon? Condamnez-moi? Like, how? What is this healthier soils? I'll just put a little bit of this at the end. Just ridiculous. Thanks for that. Kind of add in their little end statement where they sort of say the quiet part out loud. And then we'll just move on to a new board, part 15. Now, and let's go ahead and share this out, make it into an image and share it out to the greater brand new Discord. Kind of anytime now, hopefully. End statement where they sort of anytime, say anytime out loud. And then we'll just move on to still no one-time code, so that's fun. Now, and let's go ahead and Jesus Christ, how long does it take to fucking share? Holy shitballs, you guys. Let's just scroll down here for now. I know we've looked at all of this, and we'll look at it again in the sort of bibliography and sourcing portion of this, but I'm curious. I've got cat fur on my nose. I'm curious about that. I'm curious as to kind of what some of the sources that they are using are, because they source themselves, they source specific government documents that somewhat justify their positions on things. They source other special interest groups. It's not what you would think of if you were looking for like legitimate kind of unbiased sourcing, if that makes sense. What some of the sources that they are using are. So let's go ahead and start a new board. Specific government documents that called, oh my god, we're all gonna die. No, it will call this one part 16. Special interest powering through this. It's not what you would think page 450 already for like legitimate, okay, kind of unbiased sourcing, if that makes sense. What some of the sources that they are using are. So let's go ahead and start a new board. Called, oh my god, we're all gonna die. No, it will call this one part 16. 16. Through this. Page 450 already. Not D-O, D-H-S. DHHS? I think it's just DHS. Anyway, it's fine. We're good. I'm gonna try a thing here, guys, for our new whiteboard. Not D-O, D-H-S. Wondering if Claude. That's an infographic. I'm gonna try for oh my god, my eyes. For my eyes not fucking hurting anymore, dang it. No, wondering if you could make us an infographic. I'm saying stating what Department of Health and Human Services for my eyes not fucking hurting specifically laid out in the section of Project 2025, authored mainly by Roger Severino. Ow. Writing. Specifically laid out in the I'll get to chat in just a second. 2025, authored mainly what the fuck? Anyway. What we'll say what planned changes to the Department of Health and Human Services, as laid out in Project 2025. Yeah, we'll just say that. Changes to the Department of Health and Human Services. Well, we'll say using what was laid out. 25, authored mainly by Roger Severino, as a base for what was planned. Well, we'll say using. Well, as a base, and we'll say, and also include what changes have already taken place, if any, as of July 22nd, I believe it is, 2026. I don't know if that's possible. It seems like a lot, but we'll see. Okay, so I was thinking Department of Homeland Security. It's not that. It's HHS. Hello. 22nd, I believe it is. We'll see if any such image can be. I don't know if that's possible. It seems like a lot, but generated. We shall see. Okay, so I was thinking Department of Homeland Security. It's not that. It's HHS. Hello. And then, if possible, we'll see if any such image can be. We'll use that image as the background. Generated. Ouch. Okay. Let's see here. And then, if possible, we'll see if any such 14 HHS Roger Severino. We'll just put that in our notes for right now. And go from there. Okay, so copy and paste this in for now, and we'll see where everything goes with that image generation. Now, fuck. And hi puppy. And go from there. Okay, so copy and paste this in for now, and we'll see where everything goes with that image generation. Hi puppy. And go from there. And well, that's allegedly, apparently, etc. generating. Let's see. Okay, it's still generating. Let's just go on ahead and plow through this. And this is page what? Yeah, we're around 450. We're making good progress. Department of Health and Human Services by Roger Severino, etc. generating. If the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services were a separate country, its approximately $1.6 trillion budget would rank as the world's 5th largest national budget. Okay, well, it's not, and it's actually a department within one of the world's most allegedly still powerful countries. So that doesn't sound altogether inappropriate, especially when it has to do with things like health and human services. Sorry, I meant to say health and human services. So that doesn't sound altogether inappropriate, especially when it has to do with things like health and human services. Sorry, I meant to say health and human services. Health and human services. Okay, this is decent. This image is pretty good. It is an HTML image, though. Okay, this is decent. This image is pretty good. It is an HTML image though. Okay, it's decent. This image is pretty good. It is an HTML image though. And it's going to my local server, which is fine, but like I kind of want it to just be downloadable. We shall see here. Mm. And it's going to my local server, which is fine, but like I kind of want it to just be downloadable. We shall see here. One sec. Let's see if we can get a PNG version. PNG. Should I just render it via Markdown or something in another app? Let's see if we can get a PNG version. If I need to render it, I'll render it. But PNG should. Oh, cool! It can use Playwright. Markdown or something. Awesome. Sweet. No, that's perfect, dude. Hoi Fayette. Okay. Sorry, that's obnoxious. Oh, cool. It can use Playwright. Awesome. Sweet. No, that's perfect. Hoi Fayette. Okay. Sorry, guys. One sec. Okay, mild annoyance here. No, it's fine. I'm just making sure that this image can be appropriately saved. That's all. Exactly what I was looking for. Infinite zoomable canvases editor. Huh. Okay, mild annoyance here. No, it's fine. I'm just making sure that this image can be appropriately saved. That's all. Ouch. Fuckaroni. Oh, my eyes. Okay, let's make sure everything is linked. Okay, my sweet summer children. Exactly what I was looking for. Okay. Infinite zoomable canvases editor. Huh. No, it's fine. I'm just making sure that this image can be appropriately saved. That's all. Ouch. Fuckaroni. Oh, okay. Okay, let's make sure everything
One
is
sec,
linked.
guys.
Okay. Infinite zoomable canvases editor. I'm hot cold. Help.
Okay. One sec, guys.
Not worried about it. I'll just overwrite. And then HTTP server.
I'm hot cold. Help.
Perfect. There we go. We're good.
Okay.
Bing, bang, boom. Bing, bop, boom, bop, bam. To type some shit on you wouldn't understand. Not worried about it. I'll just overwrite. And then There we go. There we go. We're good.
Bing bang boom. Bing bop
Okay.
boom bop boom bop bang. To type of shit I don't even understand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. All you got to do is call, and I'll be there. You got a friend. You got a friend. Yeah, it's just a little bit long. And I think I'm just gonna kind of put it, if it'll fit, I'm gonna put it as the background because there is so much fucking amazing information in this graphic. I tells you, it's seriously, it's quite good. So let's try this. I think we pretty much got the whole section just covered right here. But again, I'm not sure if it's going to work because there is so much fucking amazing. It might be kind of compressed and look kind of fucky. And if it does, fair enough. We can add it in later or do it piece by piece, kind of a thing.
Let's try this.
I think we pretty much got the whole section just yeah, I'm kind of thinking it'll be kind of
again, I'm not sure
compressed or stretched or something. We'll see. We shall see. It might be kind of compressed and look kind of fucky. And if it does, fair enough. We can add it in later or. I don't want to be totally obnoxious. So I hope that mute worked. Okay. Okay. So no, this is perfect. This is perfect. So honestly, this is perfect. I don't want to be totally obnoxious. Honestly, I don't know if we need to take notes. This is so good, okay. Y'all. What the fuck? This is so good. No, this is perfect. This is perfect. Okay. So we'll just say PNG for this honestly, one. Summary. Honestly, I don't know if we need to take notes. This is so good, y'all. What the fuck? All right. Let's see if we can. I don't know. This is annoying. Oh, damn it. But no, this is great. This PNG is fucking awesome. Like, are you kidding me right now? Summary. Honestly, I don't know if we need to take notes. I'm debating. I don't even think we need to take notes for this one. Right. I think this is SXA. Let's I don't know. Go forward as if this was successful. No, how about that? How about that? Awesome. Like, I am still looking for that one-time code, and it is just simply not appearing, which is fun and fresh. Let's go forward as if this was successful. How about that? Okay, how about that, guys? I am still looking for that one-time code, and it is just we're doing a cute little picture appearing, which is fun and fresh. I don't know why my like it looks like I'm wearing like makeup or something. Anyway, we're doing a cute little picture. Okay. And we'll go ahead and put that up and be like, hey, join us. Anyway, say hey, join us. And we'll go ahead and put that out and be like, hey, join us. Anyway, say hey, join us. One sec. One sec. Y'all still no fucking no fucking one-time code. Come on. Bruh. Y'all still no fucking and then we'll look at our backup email, but it's not gonna be on. Bruh. Yo, come on now. And then we'll look at our backup email, but it's not gonna be on. Yo, come on now. One more time. We'll try it one more time. One more time. That's not gonna work though. One more time. We'll try it one more time. One more time. That's not gonna work though. We'll try it one more time. Seriously, come the fuck on. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Seriously, come the fuck on. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Okay. But like the weird thing is like these were being received up until a couple of weeks ago. But like the weird thing, it's fine. Is gonna like, bounce back. I just want to make sure that like up until a couple of weeks ago. I just want to make sure there has that email on file. Okay. It's gonna bounce back. I just want to make sure that like up until a couple of weeks ago. Okay. I just want to make sure there has that email on file. Okay. It's gonna bounce back. I just want to make sure that like. Yeah, that's fun, man. Oh, good. Okay, okay, that good. The bounce back came through. That's awesome. All right, that's well, that rules out the whole email being fucked. Good. So let's okay. Let's wait till we're done reading through this section, and then we'll go through this whole PNG that we had made for us, because this is good stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty fucking interesting. All right, this is good stuff here. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty fucking interesting. Perfect. So, Department of Health and Human Services, section by Roger Severino. Right. Ah, fuck. We'll go ahead and put this up here for now. I'm gonna get comfy over here. I'm like cold, but not. It's like I'm hot. I'm cold. I don't know. My body's not making up. Making up its mind. Okay. I don't want to go lying into my shelving unit here, because this thing is really, like, truly a fucking swing. It will go flying. Okay, let's. Oh, geez, if this makes a sound. Okay, let's see. And not really. It's fine. I should paint my toenails. Alrighty. So, actually, here, let me try something. Motherfucker, I'm not trying to play with you. I'm A little different. Just testing my patience. Okay. Okay. We'll see about that. I'm not sure if that's gonna work, but we'll see. So, without hitting everything. Oh, you know what? I could put my other camera on too. Just for fun. Just for fun. Okay. Let's move this down a little too, because it's kind of just giving like the top of my head. Like every time I try to grab it, I slide further away in my swing. Anyway, here we go. That sort of shows my whole desk and all of the like things I have to have crammed in here into this small space. But here we go. And can we see me in my first camera? I don't know. I think we're good here. Ouch. Oh, cool. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Okay. And there we are. Yeah, I feel like that the light is reflecting off my glasses a bit, but hey, you know, I think we're good. So anyway, we've got right here, and I hope we can see it okay. Oh, and let me really quick, let me put up my, let's pin that, shall we? Yeah, let's go ahead and pin that. That's our Discord. Okay. Hold on a sec. How to ungoof this thing here. Ooh, that's a pretty color. Nope. Okay. I'm just going to type out a little message here. Just say Discord is mother of fuck. This is what pisses me off. Okay. Discord is where we're taking whiteboard notes. Link to Discord is pinned. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead. What in the world? Huh. Okay. No, that's just see, that's the thing. Oh, and I will go ahead and give you, hold on one sec. I don't know why you got caught in the filter here. I apologize for that. Actually, it's not letting me, wait a minute. It's not letting me take you out of the filter. So that's interesting. Alrighty. Say something else if you're still here. I apologize that got caught in the filter. I don't think I can manually take it out. But okay, propaganda is everywhere and it is released to make you hate your neighbors. Right, but this is the thing. This is propaganda. This is propaganda. Project 2025, let's be so clear, is propaganda. But it's propaganda that's being used to make laws right now. So it's not something that's, non-existent or not being implemented. It's been implemented. Like if you look at the here, I'll make it a little bit bigger, but if you look at the PNG I just had generated here, so everybody could kind of see not only what we're reading through, but like what's actually happening. Awesome, your chat went through. We're good. If you look at that, it literally shows exactly how this propaganda is being implemented right now. So you can read about it here and how it was planned a few years back. And then here you can kind of read, if you're in the Discord, you can scroll through it, how it's actually playing out right now. And it is, unfortunately. So just reading through this section, and we'll go through the infographic that I just put in the notes. Apologies, I'm trying to multitask here. It never works. If the U.S. So this is the Department of Health and Human Services by Roger Severino. Yes, we are multitasking. I am painting my toenails and what? I'm joking. But I am multitasking. So just to back it up a little bit and recap, one of the things that we're keeping an eye out for, right, is the way that leadership of these agencies and of these government bodies is slowly being eroded away, all right, in favor of these like Office of General Counsel implementations in each agency, which is unusual to have an implementation like that in each agency, to where essentially the hope was that Trump or whatever conservative takes over from Trump, right? The hope was that they could run things headlessly, like when they continue to fire departments heads and agency heads and that sort of thing. The hope was we can run this without fooling with Congress. We can run this without concern for getting any kind of approval. And that's dangerous right there. And that has actually already been happening. So when you see things like OIGC, Office of General Counsel, and you see references and hear references to like cutting and saving tax dollars and cutting taxes, the quiet part is, and we're going to do this, right, by just not staffing these places appropriately and correctly. That way, we can force through whatever changes we'd like to see without doing it legally and without congressional approval, and sometimes without necessary oversight body approval, like Supreme Court approval and that sort of thing. And another thing I'll just mention here before I get back to reading all of this is we have fired a lot of agency directors and heads, not replaced them at all. It does not seem to be a concern of this administration. Having an acting such and such agency head is just a-okay for them. It's not congressionally approved. It's not legal, it's not appropriate, but that's what we're doing. That's where we're at. And this is the plan that they've used for this. And again, this isn't just like a standalone document. Like Project 2025 isn't this like standalone document that came out of nowhere. It was birthed around the time the Heritage Foundation was birthed, which essentially came out of the Powell memo. And this is part like 15 or 16 in a series that the Heritage Foundation laid out starting in 1979 called, see it right here, Mandate for Leadership. Okay, right at the top of the page there, Mandate for Leadership. So this has been an ongoing plan. Citizens United decision was a huge part of that plan, unfortunately. Anyway, Department of Health and Human Services by Roger Severino. If the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services were a separate country, its approximately $1.6 trillion budget would rank as the world's fifth largest national budget. For good or ill, HHS activities personally impact the lives of more Americans than do those of any other federal agency. Well, yeah, it's HHS. Duh. Under President Trump, HHS is dedicated to serving all Americans from conception to natural death, including those individuals and families who face economic and social well-being challenges. Under President Biden, the mission has shifted. Again, we're talking as if Biden's still in office, because that's when this was written, to, quote, promoting equity in everything we do, unquote, for the sake of, quote, population sharing a particular characteristic, unquote, including race, sexuality, gender, identification, ethnicity, and a host of other categories. As a result of HHS's having lost its way, interesting, Clayton, there, huh? Having lost its way. That's a premise we're not going to accept because it has not been proven or demonstrated. U.S. life expectancy, instead of returning to normal after the COVID-19 pandemic, continued to drop precipitously to levels not seen since 1996. With white populations, again, did we not just say we weren't supposed to describe people with these terms? Why are we talking about white populations? I thought we were colorblind here. Anyway, with white populations alone losing 70% of their expected lifespan in just 1 year. Nothing less than America's long-term survival is at stake. Accordingly, HHS must return to serving the health and well-being of all Americans at all stages of life instead of using social engineering that leaves us, social engineering that leaves us sicker, poorer, and more divided. Overview, HHS consists of 11 operating divisions that have varying degrees of practical independence from the Secretary of Health and Human Services. We know who that is now, right? That is, sadly, RFK Jr. Real quick, side note on RFK Jr., in case anybody is laboring under the delusion that this is somebody who is experienced or fit for this or probably any job. He is an elderly gentleman, as are so many of the people in power. And I'm not saying that alone is bad, but he may or may not have, we'll say carefully, played a role in his first wife's suicide. He has been in some relationships that were described as being coercive and controlling. Worse allegations have been made, but we're not going to get into those right now. He's currently, interestingly enough, married to actress Cheryl Hines of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Great show. But interestingly enough, he is an anti-vaxxer. He did oversee implementation of a terribly ineffective vaccine situation gone awry in like an island nation. I'll have to revisit which one that was, where the kids involved were given muscle relaxers at highly inappropriate and high doses instead of the vaccines that they were promised. And of course, fucking shenanigans ensued from there. Imagine that, right? Anyway, he also happens to be somebody who has taken a bear carcass, chainsawed the shit out of it, and then strapped it to his car and dumped it for some fucking reason in Central Park. He one time saw a whale carcass at a beach and decided he would strap it to the family station wagon and essentially put plastic bags over his kids' heads. And no, I'm not making this up, in the back of the station wagon as the whale juices dripped down onto them. And they cruised down the fucking highway with a dead whale carcass strapped to the top of their car. For what reason? Nobody knows. He has been accused of eating dogs. We're not even going to get into that right now. And he is somebody who has had quite a few disturbing incidents with chopping up dead animals and inappropriately disposing with their remains. He had a brain worm, possibly from eating uncooked meat, in his head, in his brain, that did in fact eat a decent portion of part of his brain. This is all on record. I encourage you to look it up. Again, he has gone on record as being anti-vaccine, anti-science, and is somebody who is, he's a lawyer. He used to be like an environmental and civil rights lawyer, I want to say. He's not a doctor. He has no business in the healthcare industry whatsoever, and frankly has like an all meat diet, drinks unfiltered raw milk, unpasteurized, unfiltered. This guy is not somebody I would consider to be a well gentleman. But here we are. He's in charge of HHS. Yay, I guess. So, again, overview. HHS consists of 11 operating divisions that have varying degrees of practical independence from the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and 15 staff divisions that are directly under the Office of the Secretary. This, RFK Jr. now, for better or worse. This chapter's recommendations are limited to those divisions that most need reform and address wherever possible 5 cross-cutting goals. Goal number 1, protecting life, conscience, and bodily integrity. Which life? That'd be my question. Whose life? Whose life? Just life in general. Who? Give us some examples. I'm sure you will. The Secretary should pursue a robust agenda to protect the fundamental right to life. I suspect not for people who are already here. Protect conscience rights and uphold bodily integrity rooted in biological realities, not ideology. From the moment of conception, every human being possesses inherent dignity and worth. Do we? Or only while we're like still in somebody's body? I don't know. Anyway, just asking questions. Yeah. Anyway, and our humanity does not depend on our age, stage of development, race, or abilities. The Secretary must ensure that all HHS programs and activities are rooted in a deep respect for innocent human life. From day one until natural death. Abortion and euthanasia are not healthcare. Well, they are, but maybe, I guess tell that to your cat when your cat gets deathly ill. Sorry, Fluffy, euthanasia is not healthcare. You're going to have to die of a painful fucking stroke. Sorry. Heritage Foundation, RFK Jr. said it. That's horrifying even for an animal. It's not acceptable in a human to take that tack. Period. Point blank, period. A robust respect for the sacred rights of conscience, both at HHS and among governments and institutions funded by it, increases choices for patients and program beneficiaries and furthers pluralism and tolerance. The Secretary must protect American civil rights by ensuring that HHS programs and activities follow the letter and spirit of religious freedom and conscience protection laws. Radical actors inside and outside government are promoting harmful identity politics that replaces biological sex with subjective notions of gender identity. That's not true. And bases a person's worth on his or her race, sex, or other identities. This destructive dogma under the guise of equity, quote unquote, threatens Americans' fundamental liberties as well as the health and well-being of children and adults alike. The next secretary, i.e. RFK Jr. right now, must ensure that HHS programs protect children's minds and bodies, but not adults, evidently, and that HHS programs respect parents' basic right to direct the upbringing, education, and care of their children. Goal 2, something that literally has not been challenged. But okay. Goal 2, empowering patient choices and provider autonomy. Basic economics holds that costs tend to decrease and quality and options tend to increase when there is robust and free competition in the provision of goods and services. Healthcare is no exception. Healthcare reform should be patient-centered and market-based and should empower individuals to control their healthcare-related dollars and decisions. Of course, providers who deliver healthcare also need the freedom to address the unique needs of their patients. States should be the primary regulators of the medical profession, and the federal government should not restrict providers' ability to discharge their responsibilities or limit their ability to innovate through government pricing controls or irrational Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement schemes. Okay, they're schemes now, I see. Finally, America's broken insurance system. Well, on that we can agree, but I doubt that we'll agree why it's broken. Run largely through confusing provider networks and third-party payers, employers. Induces overconsumption of healthcare, limits consumer shopping, and hides true costs from patients. The federal government should focus reform on reducing burdens of regulatory compliance, unleashing innovation in healthcare delivery is ceasing interference in the daily lives of patients and providers, allowing alternative insurance coverage options and returning alternative, i.e., you fucking pay for it, just in case you missed that part, and returning control of healthcare dollars to patients, making decisions with their providers about their healthcare treatments and services. Goal number 3, promoting stable and flourishing married families. Families comprised of a married mother and father and their children are the foundation, not necessarily, the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society. Unfortunately, family policies and programs under President Biden's HHS are, i.e. were, fraught with agenda items focusing on, quote, LGBTQ plus equity, unquote.
What? Shut up.
Subsidizing single motherhood, disincentivizing work, and penalizing marriage. These policies should be repealed and replaced by policies that support the formation of stable married nuclear families. Working fathers are essential to the well-being and development of their children, but the United States is experiencing a crisis of fatherlessness that is ruining our children's futures. In the overwhelming number of cases, fathers insulate children from physical and sexual abuse. That's not true. Financial difficulty or poverty, guys. Real quickly, just in case anybody doesn't know this. Let's be clear about something. In almost every case, CSA happens within the family and often by a known male relative. Make of that what you will. But no, fathers are out here protecting the little babies. Won't somebody please think of the children? Yeah, it's, you know.
Okay.
Anyway. Financial difficulty or poverty, incarceration, teen pregnancy. Wow, father's doing a lot by just existing, huh? Poor educational, teen pregnancy, poor educational outcomes, high school failure, and a host of behavioral and psychological problems. By contrast, homes with non-related boyfriends, just the way it's written, present are among the most dangerous places for a child to be. It's not the case. There's no distinction there. HHS should, the distinction without a difference, HHS should prioritize married father engagement in its messaging, health, and welfare policies. In the context of current and emerging reproductive technologies, HHS policy should never place the desires of adults over the right of children to be raised by the biological fathers and mothers who conceived them. In cases involving biological parents who are found by a court to be unfit because of abuse or neglect, the process of adoption should be speedy, certain, and supported generously by HHS. Goal number 4. I mean, there's a lot of qualifiers in that, aren't there? Like, that, it sounds good on its face, but look at all those qualifiers for a minute. Goal number 4, preparing for the next health emergency. The COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated how catastrophic micromanaging, misinformed, centralized, and politicized federal government can be. Basic human rights, medical choice, and the doctor-patient relationship were trampled without scientific justification and for extended periods of time. Excess deaths not due to COVID-19 skyrocketed because of now they're excess deaths, guys. Excess. Like, we expected some, But anymore, just access. What the fuck kind of wording is that? Anyway, skyrocketed because of forced lockdowns, isolation, vaccine-related mass firings. Yeah, people just offed themselves because of the vaccine-related mass firings. They just mass unsubscribed from life, guys. That's obviously not true. Hopefully you guys get that. And colossal disruptions of the economy and daily rhythms of life. The federal government's public health apparatus, I'm sorry, that's just wild to me, has lost the public's trust before the next national public health emergency. This apparatus must be fundamentally restructured to ensure a transparent. No transparents are allowed around here, guys. No transparents. None, not one. To ensure a transparent, scientifically grounded, and more nimble, efficient, transparent, yeah, they said transparent twice. Are we talking about transparency here? Not appropriate. Not appropriate. That sounds like DEI talk to me. Not appropriate.
What? Shut up. Smells are racist, and you're racist for smelling people.
Transparent and targeted response that respects the unique needs and input of patient populations and providers. Every one of the overreaching policies during the pandemic, from lockdowns and school closures to mask and vaccine mandates or passports, okay, babe, received its supposed legal justification when the state of emergency declared and renewed by the HHS secretary. Tellingly, however, the threshold for what constitutes a public health emergency, how many cases, hospitalizations, deaths, etc., was never defined. For the sake of democratic accountability, we must know with clarity what will trigger the next emergency declaration. And, just as important, what will trigger its end. Oh, don't worry, we're not even concerned about these things anymore. Hey, measles is back. Fun times, y'all. Measles is back. Smallpox back. Plague back. Yay. Unaccountable bureaucrats like Anthony Fauci should never again have such broad, unchecked power to issue health quote-unquote guidelines. God, those guidelines, you guys, unacceptable. That will certainly be the basis for federal and state mandates. Never again should public health bureaucrats be allowed to hide information, ignore information, and mislead the public concerning the efficacy or dangers associated with any recommended health interventions because they believe it may lead to hesitancy on the part of the public. The only way to restore public trust in HHS as an institution capable of acting responsibly during a health emergency is through the best of disinfectants light. Anywho, goal number 5, instituting greater transparency, accountability, and oversight. The next administration should guard against the regulatory capture of our public health agencies by pharmaceutical companies, insurers, hospitals, conglomerates, and related economic interests that these agencies are meant to regulate. Yeah, whatever. We must erect robust, don't say erect, it's not appropriate, robust firewalls to mitigate these obvious financial conflicts of interest. All national institutes of health, centers for disease control and prevention, and Food and Drug Administration regulators should be entirely free from private biopharmaceutical funding. In this realm, public-private partnerships is a euphemism for agency capture. In this realm specifically, right? So, but in other realms, we can just give it all to the private part of the partnership. Just give it all to them. It's fine. Makes sense. Don't ask too many questions. A thin veneer for corporatism. I've seen some thin veneers for corporatism up in here, and it's not from Joe Biden. Funding for, well, actually it is, but not as much as it is from Donald Trump. I walked that point back. You get it. Funding for agencies and individual government researchers must come directly from the government with robust congressional oversight. We must shut and lock the revolving door between government and big pharma. Regulators should have a long cooling off period on their contracts. 15 years would not be too long. That prevents them from working for companies they have regulated. I mean, we're only worried about that in this industry? Okay, make that make sense. Similarly, pharmaceutical company executives should be restricted from moving from the industry into positions within regulatory agencies. Finally, HHS should adopt metrics across the agency that can objectively determine the extent to which the agency's policies and programs achieved desired health and welfare outcomes, not agency outputs. What is not measured is not achieved. But didn't you just say we shouldn't be measuring some of these things? Anyway, guess they don't like achievement very much. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, COVID and structural reform, COVID-19 exposed these Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, is perhaps the most incompetent and arrogant agency in the federal government. The CDC continually misjudged COVID-19 from its lethality, transmissibility, and origins to treatments. Oh, we're going with the lab leak story. Got it. I'd put money on that. If I were on Polymarket right now, that's where I'd put my money. That's where I'd put my money on what I'm about to read. We were told masks were not needed. No, we were said with the information we have, they may or may not be needed. We don't know right now. We'll hold off on recommending them, right? And then they were made mandatory. Yeah, because that's how having more information works. It's when you get more information, you can actually change your mind. I know, wild concept to some of these folks, right? Yeah. These are probably the same types of people who thought that washing your hands was a terrible idea during Abraham Lincoln's bullet surgery, right? Unrelated issue that he died of infection after that, of course. Because when we know something, we can't change our mind after that. Even if new facts and information comes in, sorry guys, we can't change our mind. It's not allowed. It's not appropriate. It's not okay.
What? Shut up.
Anywho. When it was too late, we were told to put our lives on hold for 2 weeks to flatten the curve. That turned into 2 years. No, it didn't, of interference and restrictions on the smallest details of our lives. Congress should ensure that CDC's legal authorities are clearly defined and limited to prevent a recurrence of any such arbitrary and vacillating exercise of power. The CDC should be split into two separate entities, housing its own two distinct functions. On the one hand, the CDC is now responsible for collecting, synthesizing, and publishing epidemiological data from the individual states, a scientific data gathering function. This information is crucial for medical and public health researchers around the country. On the other hand, the CDC is also responsible for making public health recommendations and policies, an inescapably political function. At times, these two functions are in tension or clear conflict. In February 2022, for example, it was reported that 2 full years into the pandemic, the agency leading the country's response to the public health emergency has published only a tiny fraction of the data it has collected, much of which could have helped state and local health officials better target their efforts to bring the virus under control. The CDC spokesman said that one of the reasons was fear that the information might be misinterpreted. Again, the source. Anyway. These distinct functions should be separated into 2 entirely separate agencies with a firewall between them. We need a national epidemiological agency responsible only for publishing data and required by law to publish all the data gathered from states and other sources. A separate agency should be responsible for public health with a severely confined ability to make policy recommendations. The CDC can and should make assessments as to the health costs and benefits of health interventions, but it is limited to no capacity to measure the social costs or benefits they may entail. For example, how much risk mitigation is worth the price of shutting down churches on the holiest day of the Christian calendar? A lot, I would say. I don't know. What about you guys? A lot? Yeah, maybe. And far beyond has happened in 2020. What is the proper balance of life saved versus soul saved?
Sorry. What? Shut up.
I'm sorry. That one caught me off guard. The CDC has no business making such inherently political. Yeah, they're the ones being political, not y'all, them. And even often unconstitutional assessments, and to be required by law to stay in its lane. The CDC's initial COVID-19, yeah, talk about religion, CDC, don't do the medical stuff, icky, make it stop. The CDC's initial COVID-19 testing failures were largely the result of that agency's prioritizing its own development and production of tests using its internal staff and facilities. The private sector is much better positioned to tackle the challenges inherent in developing and manufacturing novel products, as illustrated by the relative success of the alternative approach to facilitating the development of COVID-19 vaccines and therapeutics by private companies that was adopted by the FDA, Food and Drug Administration. It's not exactly how that happened, but okay. When it comes to testing, the CDC's role should similarly be to facilitate rather than supplant the efforts of private test developers, academic laboratories, state public health laboratories, and clinical testing providers. When responding to a novel pathogen, the CDC should focus on gathering and disseminating information. Oh, so kind of like they already did, is what you're saying? Shocking new information that, including specimens needed for development of positive controls and reference panels, and ensuring that test developers can develop and validate diagnostic tests. These changes will require a shift in priorities and culture at the CDC and throughout HHS more broadly. Most problematically, the CDC presented itself as a kind of super doctor for the entire nation. The CDC is a public health institution, not a medical institution. How's that work? How's that? According to its mission statement, the agency focuses on disease prevention and control, environmental health, and health promotion and health education activities. It is not qualified to offer and usually does not purport to offer professional medical opinions applicable to specific patients. From time to time, the CDC offers findings and recommendations that competent medical practitioners often will consider in arriving at a professional medical judgment for a particular patient. In this respect, CDC guidelines are analogous to guidelines from other public health associations or medical societies. They're informative, not prescriptive. Also, I'm going to go ahead and argue that maybe the word proscriptive would have been more appropriate here, but maybe I'm wrong. By statute or regulation, CDC guidance must be prohibited from taking on a prescriptive character. For example, never again should CDC officials be allowed to say in their official capacity that school children should be master vaccinated through a schedule or otherwise, or prohibited from learning in a school building. Such decisions should be left to the parents. Oh, they are being. That's the whole point of it. Your decisions have ramifications. If you choose column A, you're going to have to deal with the ramifications of the choice of column A. If you choose column B, you're going to have to deal with the ramifications of the choice of column B. That's how decisions work, guys. Good God, this is so fucking stupid. We have learned that when the CDC... Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, we have learned that when the CDC says that people should do it, it readily becomes a must, backed by severe punishments, including criminal penalties. CDC should report on the risks and effectiveness of all infectious disease mitigation measures dispassionately and leave the should and must policy calls to politically accountable parties. Conflicts of interest. There was a time when the CDC could not take money from the pharmaceutical industry, but in 1992, the agency discovered a loophole in the federal law, sorry, my eyes are bothering me, that allowed it to accept pharma contributions to the nonprofit CDC Foundation. The money started flowing immediately. Gosh, who was president then? Let me think. George H.W. Bush was still president. Clinton took over, I believe, in January of 93. Anywho, from 2014 through 2018, the CDC Foundation received $79.6 million from pharmaceutical corporations like Pfizer, Biogen, and Merck. This practice presents a stark conflict of interest that should be banned. Data systems. The COVID-19 pandemic has revealed the disastrous public health consequences of the CDC's failure to follow multiple congressional mandates to modernize its data infrastructure. Well, that I can agree with. Current reporting methods are burdensome for frontline medical workers, yet they result in only fragmented data that are not available in real time or usable rather across systems. Yeah, no, fair enough. We should do like just say type data, I think, but that would require an overhaul of certain data law here in the United States. And that would require people who know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to cybersecurity and when it comes to things like actual data security to actually be in charge of things and not some fucking like boomer who still thinks that typing on a typewriter is the height of modern technology. Congress should require HHS, honestly, to prioritize the electronic collection and dissemination of robust privacy-protected data. The better, let's take a pause on the privacy-protected data thing. Anyway, but privacy-protected data, they say, that better leverages existing systems while reducing burdens on clinicians. Do they mean privacy protected as in like patient information redacted, or that just private information should be disseminated everywhere about like private citizens, private health issues? Like, be specific, guys. You know, do be specific. Anywho, HHS should also enter into a public-private partnership. Wait, I thought you said that was bad just a minute ago. Anyway, with a data management expert to develop a system that makes critical information available to healthcare workers and policymakers in real time. The CDC operates several programs related to vaccine safety, including the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, VAERS, Vaccine Safety Data Link, VSD, and Clinical Immunization Safety Assessment, CISA. That's confusing because it's just like CISA project. Those functions and their associated funding should be transferred to the FDA, which is responsible for post-market surveillance and evaluation of all other drugs and biologic products, Respect for life and conscience. The CDC should eliminate programs and projects that do not respect human life and conscience rights and that undermine family formation. It should ensure that it is not promoting abortion as healthcare. It should fund studies into the risks and complications of abortion and ensure that it corrects and does not promote misinformation regarding the comparative health and psychological benefits of childbirth versus the, I'd like to see that information. I think you guys would want it to be put back in the fucking closet pretty quickly once it came out. It don't serve your needs, guys. I don't think it serves the agenda you seem to think it does. Anyway, the comparative health and psychological benefits of childbirth versus the health and psychological risks of intentionally taking a human life through abortion. The CDC oversaw and funded the development and testing of the COVID-19 vaccines with aborted fetal cell lines. I don't think you guys understand how this works. Insensitive to the conscience of tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of people who objected to taking a vaccine with such a link to abortion. No, that's not really how that works. Also, is anybody going to tell these guys about like IVF? No, I'm not going to. Y'all can if you want. As evidenced by litigation across the country, it is likely that thousands were fired unjustly because of the exercise of their consciences or faith on this question, which could have been avoided with a modicum of concern for this issue from CDC. There is never any justification for ending a child's life as part of research, and the research benefits, they didn't. So there you go, problem solved. Imaginary problem solved. And the research benefits from splicing or growing aborted fetal cells and aborted baby body parts can easily be provided by alternative sources. Sure, babe. All such research should be prohibited as a matter of law and policy. I just don't think y'all know how that works at all. Like, here's a baby arm. CDC should update its public messaging about the unsurpassed effectiveness of modern fertility awareness-based methods, FABMs, of family planning and stop publishing communications that complete such methods as a long eclipsed rhythm or calendar methods. CDC should fund studies exploring the evidence. I'm sorry, they think that the CDC is out here telling people about the rhythm method, babe. CDC should fund studies exploring the evidence-based methods used in cutting-edge fertility awareness, data collection, CDC's abortion surveillance and maternity mortality. Yeah, let's surveil women. Maternity mortality reporting systems are woefully inadequate. CDC abortion data has reported by many states on a voluntary basis. In California, Maryland, and New Hampshire do not submit abortion data at all. Accurate and reliable statistical data about abortion, abortion survivors, and abortion-related maternal deaths are essential to timely, reliable public health and policy analysis. Because liberal states, I'm just saying it how I imagine they're thinking it in their minds while they write it, because liberal states have now become sanctuaries for abortion tourism. I'm so sorry, but what? HHS should use every available tool. I'm trying to take this seriously, but it's hard to, because what the fuck? Including the cutting of funds to ensure that every state reports exactly how many abortions take place within its borders, at what gestational age of the child, for what reason, the mother's state of residence, and by what method. It should also ensure that statistics are separated by categories. Spontaneous miscarriage, treatments that incidentally result in the death of a child, such as chemotherapy, stillbirth, and induced abortion. In addition, CDC should require monitoring and reporting for complications due to abortion in every instance of children being born alive after an abortion. That's not a thing. Moreover, abortion should be clearly defined as only those procedures that intentionally end an unborn child's life. I don't think they understand how terminology works either at this point. Miscarriage management, or like, look, at this point, I'm just glad they somewhat understand how like spelling and words work. I'm just impressed that that's happening. Low bar, some might say. Some, not me, would say that might be a low bar, but I'm still holding that hope that they at least know how to spell and use words, sort of, to an extent. Moreover, abortion should be clearly defined as only those procedures that intentionally end an unborn child's life. Miscarriage management or standard ectopic pregnancy treatment should never be conflated with abortion. Comparisons between live birth and abortion should be tracked across various demographic indicators to assess whether certain populations are targeted by abortion providers. Yeah, you know, all those abortion providers just going door to door. Do you need an abortion? I'm giving you an abortion. Come on. And whether better prenatal, physical, mental, and social care improves infant outcomes and decreases abortion rates. We don't care about the mothers, we care about the infant outcomes, especially among those who are most vulnerable. The Ensuring Accurate and Complete Abortion Data Reporting Act of 2023. I don't know if that happened. We'll have to look at our infographic in just a minute. Would amend Title 19 of the Social Security Act and Public Health Service Act to improve the CDC's abortion reporting mechanisms by requiring states as a condition of federal Medicaid payments for family planning services to report streamlined variables in a timely manner. The CDC should immediately end its collection of data on gender identity, which legitimizes the unscientific notion that men can become women and vice versa, and encourages the phenomenon of ever-multiplying subjective identities. Okay. Oh, we're up for individualism unless it's somebody we don't like, I see, or whom we just choose not to understand on like a basic human level. Then we're against it. Then we're for collectivism. Food and Drug Administration, FDA. The FDA's mission includes ensuring safety and efficacy of drugs, biological products, and medical devices. Federal laws that shield Big Pharma from competition because generics generally cost far less than brand name drugs. Consumers begin to save money as soon as a generic product comes on the market. The vast majority are very affordable, with 93% of generic products costing $20 or less. Savings would be even higher under proposals that prevent brand name manufacturers from slowing down or impeding the entrance of generic products into the marketplace. No argument there. Specifically, the FDA should prohibit pharmaceutical companies from purposely sitting on their legally available right to be the first to sell generic versions of their drugs. Additionally, Congress should create legal remedies for generic companies to obtain samples of brand name products for their generic development efforts, and should prohibit meritless citizen petitions submitted by manufacturers to delay approval of a generic competitor. Approval process for laboratory developed or modified medical tests. Learning from the failed early COVID-19 testing experience, Congress and the FDA should focus on reforming laws and regulations governing medical tests, especially with respect to laboratory developed tests. Commercial tests are developed with the intention of being widely marketed, distributed, and used, while laboratory developed tests are created with the intention of being used solely within one laboratory. Anyway. A test developed by a lab in accordance with the protocols developed by another lab, non-commercial sharing, currently constitutes a quote-unquote new laboratory developed test because the lab in which it will be used is different from the initial developing lab. To encourage interlaboratory collaboration and discourage duplicative test creation and associated regulatory and logistical burdens, the FDA should introduce mechanisms through which laboratory developed tests can easily be shared with other laboratories without the current regulatory burdens. The laboratory developed tests category currently encompasses a range of possible tests, many of which will be categorized more appropriately as laboratory modified tests because they are not truly novel tests but rather modified versions of existing tests. To avoid stifling innovation and access to medical care, the applicable statutes and regulations should be revised to facilitate greater access to such modified tests. Finally, the FDA has long held that it has regulatory authority over such tests, while others have argued that they should be considered clinical services regulated by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS. The FDA currently has regulatory authority over in vitro diagnostics, and I don't know if they understand what that means based on how they're using that terminology. And under the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendments, CLIA, the CMS ensures that labs meet analytical validity standards for test methods. Congress, the FDA, and the CMS need to clarify and disentangle overlapping authorities over tests to eliminate regulatory confusion. Drug shortages, the very thin profit margins, and the regulatory burdens associated with generic drug manufacturing discourages inventory and capacity investments by manufacturers and contribute to drug shortages. HHS and the FDA should encourage more dependable generic drug manufacturing. The FDA should expand its current pass-fail approach to drug facility inspections into a graded system that recognizes manufacturers that exceed minimum standards by investing in improving production reliability. The FDA should also add facility codes to drug packaging and construct a searchable database that cross-references product codes and facility codes. Maybe. That would enable wholesalers and oh, I see, we're going the whole farm it out to private companies route. I see. Anyway, that would enable wholesalers and pharmacy benefit managers to identify and preference drugs rather manufactured at more reliable facilities, thus encouraging generic drug manufacturers to compete on reliability as well as on price. For its part, HHS should exempt multi-source generic drugs from requirements to pay rebates to Medicaid and other federally funded health programs, as those provisions penalize new investments in expanding manufacturing capacity when supply is unable to meet demand. Additionally, FDA and NIH should promote efficacy trials of new applications for generic drugs, which might include NIH funding, such as trials or conducting its own. Abortion pills. Abortion pills pose the single greatest threat to unborn children. That's not how they work, babe. In a post-Roe world, the rate of chemical abortion in the United States has increased by more than 150, if I could talk, percent. In the past decade, more than half of annual abortions in the U.S. are chemical rather than surgical. That's just not how this works. The abortion pill regimen is typically a two-part process. The first pill, no. Are we talking about the morning after pill? Anyway. The first pill, mifepristone, causes the death of the unborn child by cutting off the hormone progesterone, which is required to sustain a pregnancy. No. The second pill, misoprostol, causes contractions to induce a delivery of the dead child and uterine contents, usually into a toilet at home. Sorry, this is so stupid. The abortion pill regimen is currently approved for up to 70 days, 10 weeks. Into pregnancy, and before Biden was subject to a heightened safety restriction called a Risk Evaluation and Mitigation Strategy, REMS, that requires an in-person visit with a physician who can check for dangerous contraindications such as ectopic pregnancies and can advise the mother seeking an abortion of the risks of chemical abortion, including hemorrhaging, and what to do in such circumstances. Chemical abortion has been found to have a complication rate 4 times higher than that of surgical abortion. Cool, sure, buddy. Since its approval more than 20 years ago, mifepristone has been associated with 26 deaths of... Okay, how many deaths have come from women who have given birth to children that they frankly shouldn't have carried to term? How about that? Probably a few more than 26, huh? Anywho, it's been associated with 26 deaths of pregnant mothers, over 1,000 hospitalizations, and those more adverse events, but that number does not account for all complications. Of course, this does not count the hundreds of thousands to millions of babies whose lives have been unjustly taken through chemical abortion. FDA should therefore reverse its approval of chemical abortion drugs because the politicized approval process was illegal from the start. The FDA failed to abide by its legal obligations to protect the health, safety, and welfare of girls and women. It never studied the safety of the drugs under the labeled conditions of use, ignored the potential impacts of the hormone blocking regimen on the developing bodies of adolescent girls, disregarded the substantial evidence that chemical abortion drugs cause more complications than surgical abortions, and eliminated necessary safeguards for pregnant girls and women who undergo this dangerous drug regimen. Furthermore, at no point in the past 2 decades has the FDA ever acknowledged or addressed federal laws that prohibit the distribution of abortion drugs by postal mail. To the contrary, the FDA has permitted and actively encouraged such activity. Now that the Supreme Court has acknowledged that the Constitution contains no right to an abortion, the FDA is ethically and legally obligated to revisit and withdraw its initial approval, which was premised on pregnancy being an illness. No. Anyway, an abortion being therapeutically effective, yeah, it's a therapy, so at treating this illness. The FDA is statutorily charged with guaranteeing the safety and efficacy of drugs and therefore should withdraw this drug that is proven to be dangerous to women and by definition fatally unsafe for unborn children. Okay. That's wacko cuckoo kitty shit. Anyway, as an interim step, the FDA should immediately restore the REMS by removing the in-person dispensing requirement to eliminate dangerous tele-abortion and abortion by mail distribution. They tried. Mail order abortions, allowing mail order abortions as a gift to the abortion industry that allows it to expand far beyond brick and mortar clinics into pro-life states that are trying to protect women, girls, and unborn children from abortion. The FDA should therefore reinstate earlier safety protocols for mifeprex that were mostly eliminated in 2016 and apply these protocols to any generic version of mifepristone. Bare minimum policy of limiting abortion pills to the pre-2016 policy of 49 days gestation, returning to the pre-2021 in-person dispensing requirement, and returning to requiring prescribers to report all serious adverse events, not just deaths, to the drug sponsor, would increase women's health and safety, address weaknesses in the current FAERS FDA adverse event reporting system. The administration and policymakers should ensure that healthcare workers, particularly those in hospitals and emergency rooms, report abortion pill complications. Women who experience complications from abortion pills typically go to an emergency room, not to the abortion pill prescriber. So putting the onus of reporting on the prescriber, who typically has no idea that a complication has occurred, that's not how doctors work, means that the FAERS is seriously undercounting adverse events. Submitting an adverse event to the database should be a quick and efficient process for busy healthcare practitioners. Currently, providers report that the process is difficult and convoluted. Implement a policy of transparency about inspections of the abortion pill sponsors Dancom and Gen BioPro, as well as facilities that manufacture the pills. The FDA should respond to congressional requests and Freedom of Information Act FOIA requests about inspections, compliance, and post-marketing safety in a timely manner. Stop promoting or approving mail-order abortions, violation of long-standing federal laws that prohibit the mailing and interstate carriage of abortion drugs, vaccine importation. Thousands of Americans of faith and conscience wish to receive various childhood vaccinations for themselves and their families, but are not allowed to receive vaccines that are derived through or tested on aborted fetal cells. Anyway, move on from that. For example, the chickenpox, hepatitis, and MMR vaccines in the U.S. are all linked to the abortion in this way. There are ethically derived alternatives abroad that have been used safely there for decades, but the FDA makes it exceedingly difficult for Americans to import them. In January of 2021, the HHS Office for Civil Rights, OCR, and the FDA jointly announced that HHS was required by the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, RFRA, to allow bulk importation by doctors of certain Japanese-made vaccines. I'm just imagining that's how they were thinking when they wrote this. Japanese-made vaccines to accommodate religious needs of patients, but the Biden FDA unlawfully revoked this waiver. The FDA should restore the waiver to comply with RFRA and for the obvious public health benefits of increased childhood vaccination by families seeking ethically derived alternatives to avoid future moral coercion of the sort experienced with the COVID-19 vaccines. The FDA and NIH should require the development of drugs and biologics that are free from moral taint and switch to cell lines that are not derived from aborted fetal cell lines or aborted baby body parts. You know, those baby toe vaccines or what have you. Conflicts of interest. A 2018 report in Science found that more than 2/3 of FDA reviewers later ended up in the same companies whose products they had been reviewing while they were working for the government. This revolving door is one mechanism by which pharmaceutical companies capture the agencies that regulate them. The FDA should impose a lengthy cooling off period for reviewers, preventing them from working for companies they regulated. In 1997, the FDA relaxed regulations to prevent broadcast drug advertisements, after which Big Pharma began routine direct-to-consumer advertising, making the United States and New Zealand the only countries where such practices are legal. Following the 1997 changes, Pharma became the largest advertiser for all major media organizations. This buys considerable influence in the newsroom, whether media companies acknowledge this or not, and distorts independent reporting on public health issues. The FDA or Congress should regulate where and how paid advertising is used by pharmaceutical companies more stringently, especially on media outlets. Now that I don't totally disagree with, to be honest with y'all. National Institutes of Health, NIH, The National Institutes of Health, NIH, is the world's largest biomedical research agency. It is made up of 27 different components called institutes and centers. Despite its popular image as a benign science agency, NIH was responsible for paying for research in aborted baby parts, human animal chimera experiments, I'm sorry, and gain of function viral research that may have been responsible for COVID-19. I'm sorry. That's just bad shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but this is batshit crazy. I just have to, pardon me, grab one of my medications and take it, and then I have to literally throw myself into Lake Michigan because this is fucking insane. Okay, thank you so much. All right, hold on one sec here. Just go ahead and do this because what the fuck? This is insane. Can't grab it. Anyway. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, like we said. Okay. Bioethics reform, research using fetal tissue obtained from elective abortions is immoral and obsolete. Research using human embryonic stem cells also involves the destruction of human life and should not be subsidized with taxpayer dollars. Good science and life-affirming ethical research are not mutually exclusive. Nobody's saying they are. In fact, ethically derived sources such as discarded surgical tissue and adult stem cells made pluripotent, not tissue obtained from elective abortions, have contributed to the most successful treatments for a variety of ailments. Congress authorized HHS to choose not to fund extramural abortion-derived fetal tissue research that fails ethical advisory board review, and in 2019, the Trump administration's HHS chose that course. Subsequently, however, the Biden administration restored unrestricted funding of abortion-derived fetal tissue research. HHS should promptly restore the Ethics Advisory Committee to oversee abortion-derived fetal tissue research, and Congress should prohibit such research altogether and intramural research projects using tissue from aborted children. That's not a thing, aborted children, within the NIH, which should end its human embryonic stem cell registry, aggressively implement a plan to pursue and fund ethical alternative methods of research in order to ensure that abortion and embryo destructive related research. Odd wording, just wanted to make sure I wasn't misreading there. Cell lines and other testing methods have become both fully obsolete and ethically unthinkable. Weird wording. In addition, the administration should, i.e. right now Donald Trump, part two, that's what they're talking about when they say the administration, incoming administration, conservative administration, blah, blah, blah. The next administration, they're talking about Trump right now, just to be clear, should reconvene a new National Council on Bioethics, NCB, to discuss new and emerging areas of ethical concern, to assess whether the ends justify the means when it comes to the promise of therapies and cures, and to establish what limiting principles should guide research into health policy. Because the male-female dyad is essential to human nature, and because every child has a right, it's not a dyad, but okay, to a mother and father, 3-parent embryo creation, human cloning research should be banned. Oh God, these people are fucking stupid. Anyway, let's just go ahead. Let's just proceed. A new NCB should convene leading explorations that our country will have to address in the coming years. That supports pro-life policies and explores the harms, both mental and physical, that abortion has brought on women and girls. Conflict of interest. NIH maintains inappropriate industry ties that create serious conflicts of interest. In 2018, it was revealed that a $100 million NIH study on the benefits of moderate drinking was funded by the beer and liquor industry. More recently, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, Anthony Fauci's division of the NIH, owns half of the patent for the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine among thousands of other pharma patents. That's how patents work, but okay. Rather than providing grants to university-based investigators to run the clinical trials on their own Moderna vaccine, the NIH conducted this research internally, a clear conflict of interest. The NIAID will earn millions from this vaccine's revenue, with several NIH employees and their heirs, whatever that means, personally receiving up to $150,000 annually from Moderna vaccine sales. In May 2022, documents obtained pursuant to a FOIA request revealed that NIH Director Francis Collins and AIAD Director Anthony Fauci and Fauci's Deputy Director Clifford Lane all received royalties from pharmaceutical companies between 2009 and 2014. Nonprofit watchdog Open the Books estimates that from 2010 to 2020, third parties paid more than $350 million in royalties to NIH and its scientists who are credited as co-inventors, Most problematically, in the years when they researched payments, Collins, Fauci, and Lane were NIH administrators, not researchers with no plausible claim to be scientific co-discoverers. Have you ever heard et al. In a study? That's what's happening here. It's not a fucking conspiracy. It's not a cover-up. Okay. Most of the world's other advanced science countries have stricter prohibitions on such conflicts, which helps to explain why the most significant studies on COVID treatments on natural immunity and on efficacy have come mostly from outside the U.S. Funding for scientific research should not be controlled by a small group of highly paid and unaccountable insiders at the NIH, many of whom stay in power for decades. The NIH monopoly on directing research should be broken. Term limits should be imposed on top career leaders at the NIH, and Congress should consider block granting NIH's grants and budget to states to fund their own scientific research. I'm sure that'll go over like a lead balloon. Nothing in the system would prevent several states from partnering to co-fund large research projects that require greater resources or impact larger regions. Likewise, the establishment of funding for scientific research at the state level does not preclude more modest I thought it said federal for a minute. I'm not going to lie. Federal funding through the National Institutes of Health. The two models are not mutually exclusive. The CDC and NIH foundations, whose boards are populated with pharmaceutical company executives, need to be decommissioned. Private donations to these foundations, a majority of them from pharmaceutical companies, should not be permitted to influence government decisions about research funding or public health policy. Woke policies under Francis Collins, sorry, but again, under Francis Collins, NIH became so focused on the Me Too movement that it refused to sponsor scientific conferences unless there were a certain number of women panelists, which violates the federal civil rights law against sex discrimination. This quota practice should be ended, in the NIH Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, which pushes such unlawful actions, should be abolished.
Smells are racist, and you're racist for smelling people.
NIH has been at the forefront in pushing junk gender science. Instead, it should fund studies into the short-term and long-term negative effects of cross-sex interventions, including affirmation. What, like trucks with naked ladies on the mud flaps? Or what are we talking here? Like puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones and surgeries, and the likelihood of desistance if young people are given counseling that does not include medical or social interventions. Why does this feel like pray the gay away? It's kind of gross. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, with the goal of being a societal safety net. Medicare and Medicaid touch more American lives than does any other federal program. While they help many, they operate as runaway entitlements that stifle medical innovation, encourage fraud, and impede cost containment. in addition to which their fiscal future is in peril. Both programs should be managed so that the individuals enrolled are empowered to make decisions for themselves and have quality options with affordable prices driven by competition and innovation. Providers who participate should retain or have restored the freedom to practice medicine and take care of their patients according to their patients' unique needs. Medicare should be reformed according to 4 goals and principles. But wait, I thought Trump wasn't going to touch Medicare. Increase Medicare beneficiaries' control of their own health care. Patients are best positioned to determine the value of health care services. Working with their health care providers, they also benefit from increased choice of doctors, hospitals, and insurance plans. Access to reliable information with respect to physicians, hospitals, and insurers is therefore essential. Reduce regulatory burdens on doctors. Doctors must be free to focus on treating patients first, not entering codes on computers, and should not be tempted to change their medical judgment based on arbitrary or illogical reimbursement incentives. Ensure sustainability. Then why the fuck did you guys introduce capitalism into healthcare then? Riddle me that, Batman. Riddle me fucking that. Ensure sustainability and value for beneficiaries and taxpayers. Prices are best for patients when determined by economic value rather than political power, and when they are known in advance of the receipt of services. Government's use of non-market-based methods. No. We're not gonna compete with the market or whatever the fuck. That's a dog shit idea. Anyway, government's use of non-market-based methods to determine reimbursement leads to overspending on low-value services and products and underpayment for high-value services and products. Underpayment. Is that really? That's where we're going with this. Okay. Stifles beneficial innovation, and because of Medicare's size, distorts payments throughout the healthcare system. Intermediate entities that can manage financial risk and ensure quality of care are important in transitioning to value-based care within the Medicare program. Reduce waste, fraud, and abuse, including through the use of artificial intelligence for their detection. Regulatory reforms. Medicare regulations restrict choice of coverage and care. The next administration, i.e. Donald Trump, i.e. right now, should reintroduce and restore regulations and demonstrations from the Trump administration that were withdrawn, weakened, or never finalized by the Biden administration, including the Medicare Coverage of Innovation Technologies, MCIT rule, the Risk Adjustment Data Validation, RADV rule, the Medicare Advantage Qualifying Payment Arrangement Incentive, MAQI demonstration, and the Global and Professional Direct Contracting, GPDC, rebranded as the Accountable Care Organization Realizing Equity, Access, and Community Health, or ACO REACH model. Additionally, regulation should advance site neutrality by eliminating the inpatient-only list and expanding the ambulatory surgical center covered procedures list. Medicare generally pays for more inpatient hospital procedures and less for the same procedures performed in an outpatient setting. Gosh, it's almost as if they're taking place at a hospital or something wild like that. Anyway, whether a Medicare service is delivered in a physician's office, a clinic, or a hospital setting, the Medicare payment for that service should be the same. CMS should expand, but you just said that everything should be market-based. So again, not computing. CMS should expand the application of site-neutral payment options to more settings. Such a policy will level the playing field among providers and remove the financial disabilities for medical professionals who would compete with hospital systems. I see we're just off in fairyland on that one. Fun times, man. Legislative proposals. Remove restrictions on physician-owned hospitals. Oh yeah, what could go wrong? The Affordable Care Act, ACA, imposed restrictions prohibiting Medicare from reimbursing physician-owned and specialty hospitals. The current restrictions do little more than serve the special interests of large hospital systems and undercut consumer choice of high-quality specialty care. These restrictions should be removed so that physician-owned hospitals can compete with other hospitals in serving Medicare patients. Encourage more direct competition between Medicare Advantage and private plans. Medicare Advantage MA, a system of competing private health plans, is the major alternative to traditional Medicare for America's large and growing cohort of seniors. The program provides beneficiaries with a wide range of competitive health plan choices, a richer set of benefits than traditional Medicare provides, and at a reasonable cost. It's almost as if we should be expanding Medicare or something instead. What a wild notion. I'm crazy. Ignore me. Equally as important, the MA program has been registering consistently high marks for superior performance and delivering high quality care. Critical reforms are still needed to strengthen and improve the program for the future. Specifically, I can't wait to hear it. Number 1, make Medicare Advantage the default enrollment option. Number 2, give beneficiaries direct control of how they spend Medicare dollars. Number 3, remove burdensome policies and micromanage MA plans. Number 4, replace the complex formula-based payment model with a competitive bidding model. Number 5, reconfigure the current risk adjustment model. Number 6, remove restrictions on key benefits and services, including those related to prescription drugs, hospice care, and medical savings account plans. Legacy Medicare reform, legislation reforming legacy non-MA Medicare should base payments on the health status of the patient, or fuck me, we're just doing away with fucking rights entirely. I see. Fuck the Jesus Christ. Fuck the ACA is what I'm trying to say, right? Fuck the ACA. Fuck them patients. Fuck them. That's what we're saying. It sounds like, right? Just to be clear. So again, this is wild, but base payments on the health status of the patient or intensity of the service rather than where the patient happens to receive that service. Replace the bureaucrat. So basically make them pay more if they have a particular disability or if their disability is quite gross in comparison to somebody else's. What could go wrong? Replace the bureaucrat-driven fee-for-service system with value-based payments to empower patients to find the care that best serves their needs. Codify price transparency regulations. Restructure 340B drug subsidies toward beneficiaries rather than hospitals. Repeal harmful health policies enacted under the Obama and Biden administration, such as the Medicare Shared Savings Program and Inflation Reduction Act. Medicare Part D reform. The Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, created a drug price negotiation program in Medicare that replaced the existing private sector negotiations in Part D. How dare they? With government price controls for prescription drugs. Socialism. These government price controls will limit access to medications and reduce patient access to new medication. No, they didn't. Anyway, this negotiation program should be repealed. I love that the negotiation is in quotation marks. Should be repealed, and reforms in Part D that will have a meaningful impact for seniors should be pursued. Other reforms should include eliminating the coverage gap in Part D, reducing the government share in the catastrophic tier, and requiring manufacturers to bear a larger share. Until the IRA is repealed, on administration that is required to implement it must do so in a way that is prudent with its authority, minimizing the harmful effects of the law's policies and avoiding even worse unintended consequences. Medicaid. Over the past 45 years, Medicaid and the health safety net have evolved into a cumbersome, complicated, and unaffordable burden on nearly every state. The program is failing some of the most vulnerable patients, is a prime target for waste, fraud, and abuse. I knew that was coming. And is consuming more of state and federal budgets. The dramatic increase in Medicaid expenditures is due in large part to the ACA Obamacare, which means, look, guys, it's not the ACA, it's Obamacare. Say it right. Obama's in your microwave watching, so pay attention and say it right, okay? Which mandates that states must expand their Medicaid eligibility standards to include all individuals at or below 138% of the federal poverty level, FPL, and the public health emergency, which has prohibited states from performing basic eligibility reviews. The overlap of available benefits among the various health agencies has led to a complex, confusing system that is nearly impossible to navigate even for recipients. Recipients are often faced with a welfare cliff of benefit losses as they earn above a certain amount, which is contrary to the fundamental purpose of empowering, fair enough, individuals to achieve economic independence. Benefits increasingly involve non-medical services such as air conditioning and housing, as they fucking should, many of which are already handled by departments other than HHS. Gosh, we wouldn't want those people to have their needs met or gaps covered. No, ma'am. Let's just make sure they fall down every crack. Am I right? Improper payments within Medicaid are higher than those of any other federal program. Citation, source. These payments are evidence of the inappropriateness of Medicaid's expansion, which stemming largely from public health emergency maintenance of effort, MOE, Requirements in the Affordable Care Act has crowded out the primary targets of these programs, those who are most in need. True healthcare reform cannot be accomplished in a bureaucratic silo or only through Medicaid and health safety net programs. Reform of the tax code is also essential to genuine effective reform of our healthcare system. All components of the healthcare system should be part of the reform efforts, and it is imperative that the system be modified to assist states with their current programs. Therefore, the next administration, i.e. Donald Trump, i.e. right now, should reform financing, allowing states to have a more flexible, accountable, predictable, transparent, and efficient financing mechanism to deliver medical services. This system should include a more balanced or blended match rate, block grants, aggregate caps, or per capita caps. Any financial system should be designed to encourage and incentivize innovation and the efficient delivery of healthcare services. Federal and state financial participation in the Medicaid program should be rational, predictable, and reasonable. It should also incentivize states to save money and improve the quality of healthcare. Yeah, because saving money should be fucking paramount here, right? Direct dollars to beneficiaries more effectively and responsibly. The current funding structure for the Medicaid program rewards expansions, lack of transparency, and promotes financing gimmicks. CMS should end state financing loopholes, reform payments to hospitals for uncompensated care, replace the enhanced match rate with a fairer and more rational match rate, restructure basic financing, and put the program on a more fiscally predictable budget, which should include reform of disproportionate share hospital payments to hospitals. Strengthen program integrity. Make program integrity a top priority and the responsibility of the states. I knew they were going to go there. It's got to be the states' rights, guys. It's got to be the states' responsibility, not ours. To protect the taxpayers' investment. 1, incentivize states. An enhanced An enhanced contingency fee should be paid to states that successfully increase their efforts to decrease waste, fraud, and abuse. The current system's IT development and 90/10 matching rate should be allowed for improvements in states' current fraud and abuse and eligibility systems. Innovative programs that show a positive return on investments for both state and federal governments should be allowed without the onerous waiver process. Improve Medicaid eligibility standards to protect those in need. As Medicaid enrollment continues to climb, it is imperative that there are appropriate and accurate eligibility standards to ensure that the program remains focused on serving those who are in need. Are we sure that's what we want here? I'm not so sure about that. To this end, CMS should A, hold states accountable for improper eligibility determinations. B, require more robust eligibility determinations. C, strengthen asset test determinations within Medicaid. 3, conduct oversight and reform of managed care. Incentivize personal responsibility. Yeah, those damn disabled people need to be personally responsible. It's a responsibility issue, guys. CMS should allow states to ensure that Medicaid recipients have a stake in their personal health care and a say in the decisions related to the Medicaid program. Personal responsibility and consumer choice for Medicaid recipients must go together as standard components of the safety net, especially for able-bodied recipients. Medicaid recipients, like the rest of Americans, should be given both the freedom to choose their health plans and the responsibility to contribute to their health care costs at a level that is appropriate to protect the taxpayer. Bullshit. And you know what? Don't worry, they've got us covered now with the fucking big, beautiful bill, making sure that those Medicaid patients, many of whom are completely disabled or elderly, have to work 40 hours a month to continue getting fucking Medicaid. Because we're about personal responsibility, guys. That's what we're about. We're about personal responsibility. Don't think too hard about that, though. Add work requirements and match Medicaid benefits to beneficiary needs. Because Medicaid serves a broad and diverse group of individuals, it should be flexible enough to accommodate different designs for different groups. For example, CMS should launch a robust personal option to allow families to use Medicaid dollars to secure coverage outside of the Medicaid program. CMS should also, 1, clarify that states have the ability to adopt work incentives for able-bodied individuals, similar to, it's not for just able-bodied individuals, let's be clear. Not the way it's been implemented. No, ma'am. Similar to what is required in other welfare programs and shouldn't be. and the ability to broaden the application of targeted premiums and cost sharing to higher income enrollees. Add targeted time limits or lifetime caps on benefits to disincentivize permanent dependence. Yes, stop being fucking disabled, people, okay? It's unacceptable. Stop it. Personal responsibility. You served our country, don't care. Personal responsibility. Stop being disabled. That's disgusting, but what? Who am I, right? Who am I? Allow private health insurance. Congress should allow states the option of contributing to a private insurance benefit for all members of the family in a flexible account that rewards healthy behaviors. This reform should also allow catastrophic coverage combined with an account similar to a health savings account, HSA, for the direct purchase of health care and payment of cost sharing for most of the population, rather. Increased flexible benefit redesign without waivers. CMS should add flexibility to eliminate obsolete mandatory and optional benefit requirements, and for able-bodied recipients, eliminate benefit mandates that exceed those in the private market. This should include flexibility to redesign eligibility, financing, and service delivery of long-term care to serve the most vulnerable and truly needy. Not you guys, the truly needy, and eliminate middle income to upper income Medicaid recipients. Just eliminate them. We don't need them. They don't need us. Eliminate them. Fuck them. Fuck them Medicaid recipients, right? Because, personal responsibility, but have more babies, even though they might wind up being Medicaid recipients. They'll have to be more personally responsible, of course, if they are, because it's not okay to be disabled here. Eliminate current waiver and state plan processes. You can tell I have feelings and thoughts about all of this, even though I'm not on Medicaid myself. CMS should allow providers to make payment forms without cumbersome waivers or state plan amendment processes where possible. More broadly, the federal government's role should be oversight on broad indicators, like cost effectiveness and health measures like quality, health improvement, and wellness, and should give the balance of responsibility for Medicaid program management to states. Wow, what a shocking take. Didn't expect that. This reform would include adding Section 1115 waiver requirements in some cases, such as imposing work requirements for able-bodied adults, while rescinding requirements in others, such as non-health care benefits and services related to climate change. Affordable Care Act and private health insurance. Remove barriers to direct primary care. Direct primary care, if I could talk DPC, is an innovative healthcare delivery model in which doctors contract directly with patients for the care on a subscription basis. I have heard of this. Regardless of how or where the care is provided. This is for upper income people, guys. Just to be clear. Not fucking Medicaid recipients, by and large. The DPC model is improving patient access, driving higher quality and lower cost, and strengthening the doctor-patient relationship. DPC has faced many challenges from government policymakers, including overly exuberant attempts at regulation and misclassification. Changes should clarify that DPC's fixed fee for care does not constitute insurance in the context of health savings accounts. I will say this, DPC has also been called concierge medical service, so if that's any descriptor, or if that helps you to better understand what's being talked about here, there you have it. Revisit the No Surprises Act on surprise medical billing. Revisit it, huh? We want surprises again. Who didn't like a surprise? The No Surprises Act protected consumers against balance bills, but it also established a deeply flawed system for resolving payment disputes between insurers and providers. This government mandate dispute resolution process has sown confusion among arbiters and regulators as judges have sought to ascertain its meaning. The No Surprises Act should scrap the dispute resolution process in favor of a truth in advertising approach that will protect consumers and free doctors, insurers, and arbiters from confused and conflicting standards for resolving disputes that the disputing parties can best resolve themselves, facilitate the development of shared savings and reference pricing plan options. Let me count the ways that could go wrong. Under traditional insurance, patients who choose lower cost care do not benefit financially from that choice. Barriers to rewarding patients for cost-saving decisions should be removed. Get the lower cost care, Aunt Karen. Fuck you, Grandma. Get the lower cost care. That nice nursing home over there, fuck it. You're going to hell on wheels over here. No arguments. CMS should ensure that shared savings and reference pricing models to reward consumers are permitted. Separate the subsidized ACA exchange market from the non-subsidized insurance market. Oh, I see. Well, la-di-da. The Affordable Care Act has made insurance more expensive and less competitive, and the ACA subsidy scheme simply masks these impacts. To make health insurance coverage more affordable for those who are without government subsidies, CMS should develop a plan to separate the non-subsidized insurance market from the subsidized market, giving the non-subsidized market regulatory relief from the costly ACA regulatory mandates. So they should reward you for not doing the ACA Obamacare. Strengthen hospital price transparency. In 2020, CMS completed its rule to require hospitals to post the prices of common hospital procedures. Future updates of these rules should focus on including quality measures combined with the shared savings models and other consumer tools. These efforts should deliver considerable savings for consumers. Center for Consumer Information and Insurance Oversight, CCHO. CMS also plays an outsized role in overseeing the Obamacare exchanges, including managing healthcare.gov through the Center for Consumer Information and Insurance Oversight, CCIIO. While Obamacare limits plan options, CCIIO has been overly prescriptive in dictating what benefits and types of health plans may participate in the exchanges, thereby actually stifling the market innovation and driving up costs. Congress should build on the Trump administration's effort to expand choices for small businesses and workers both in and out of the exchanges by codifying an expansion of association health plans, short-term health plans, and health reimbursement arrangements, including individual coverage HRAs. CCIIO should also work with the Treasury Department and the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, to give consumers more flexibility with their healthcare dollars through expanded access to health savings accounts, emergency preparedness, expand the scope of practice of low complexity and moderate complexity clinical laboratories. During the COVID-19 pandemic, allowing laboratories greater regulatory flexibility regarding CLIA requirements increased access to testing. However, the need for regulatory flexibility is not limited to emergency situations. Ongoing innovation in medical care will continue to drive demand for clinical testing and new tests. One way that increasing demand for other medical services has been accommodated is by revising restrictions on scope of practice to enable providers to practice at the so-called top tier of their license. CMS should similarly revise CLIA rules regarding scope of practice for clinical laboratories and testing personnel, creating CLIA certification equivalent pathways for non-clinical laboratories and researchers. Oh, sounds great. The COVID-19 pandemic revealed that the U.S. needs to leverage the expertise of non-clinical laboratories and researchers, like the one I'm running in my basement. I'm not, don't worry, don't come for me. I don't have a basement, okay? I'm not running a laboratory in my non-existent basement. And researchers, in order to bolster clinical testing capacity. To accomplish this, CMS should create pathways for granting non-clinical laboratories and their testing personnel CLIA certification equivalency. Non-clinical researchers already demonstrate their technical expertise through online training and certification programs. CMS should build on that existing framework so that those laboratories and personnel can similarly demonstrate their clinical testing capabilities. Life, conscience, bodily integrity. Prohibit abortion travel funding. I'm not sure that's a thing, but okay. Prohibit it or whatever. Providing funding for abortions increases the number of abortions and violates the conscience and religious freedom rights of Americans who object to subsidizing the taking of life. Okay, well then you don't have to get a fucking abortion then, okay? There you go, problem solved. Anyway, the Hyde Amendment has long prohibited the use of HHS funds for elective abortions, but on August 2022, Biden executive order pressed the HHS secretary to use his authority under Section 1115 demonstrations to waive certain provisions of the law in order to use taxpayer funds to achieve the administration's goal of helping women to travel out of state to obtain abortions. Moreover, the Department of Justice Office of Legal Counsel, DOJ OLC, issued a politicized legal opinion declaring for the first time in history of Hyde that this action did not violate the Hyde Amendment, and that Hyde applies only to the performance of the abortion itself in violation of the plainly broad language that Congress used. What? two of the first actions of a pro-life administration should be, i.e. Donald Trump, i.e. right now, I hope you get that by now, should be for HHS to withdraw the Medicaid guidance and any Section 1115 waivers issued thereunder, and for DOJ OLC to withdraw and disavow its interpretation of the Hyde Amendment, prohibit Planned Parenthood from receiving Medicaid funds during the 2020-2021 reporting period. Planned Parenthood performed more than 383,000 abortions. The national organization reported more than $133 million in excess revenue and more than $2.1 billion in net assets. During the same year, Planned Parenthood reports that its affiliates received more than $633 million in government funding and more than $579 million in private contributions. Planned Parenthood affiliates face accusations of waste, abuse, and potential fraud with taxpayer dollars, failure to report sexual abuse of minor girls, and allegations of profiting from the sale of organs from aborted babies. Those dang baby butt cheeks again, man. Back at it. Policymakers should end taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood and all other abortion providers and redirect funding to healthcare centers that provide real healthcare for women. The bulk of federal funding for Planned Parenthood comes through the Medicaid program. HHS should take 2 actions to limit this funding. Issue guidance re-emphasizing that states are free to defund Planned Parenthood and their state Medicaid plans. Propose rulemaking to interpret the Medicaid statute to disqualify providers of elective abortion from the Medicaid program. Congress should pass the Protecting Life and Taxpayers Act, which would accomplish the goal of defunding abortion providers such as Planned Parenthood. CMS should resolve pending Section 1115, if I can talk right, waivers from Idaho, South Carolina, and Tennessee, which, like Texas in January 2022, are seeking both to prohibit abortion providers from participating in state-run Medicaid programs and to work with other states to do the same. Abortion is not healthcare, and states should be free to devise and implement programs that prioritize qualified providers that are not entangled with the abortion industry. Withdraw Medicaid funds for states that require abortion insurance or that discriminate in violation of the Weldon Amendment. The Weldon Amendment declares that no HHS fund may go to a state or local government that discriminates against pro-life health entities or insurers. In blatant violation of this law, 7 states require abortion coverage in private health insurance plans, and HHS continues to fund those states. HHS under President Trump disallowed $200 million in Medicaid funding from California because of the state's flouting of the law, but the Biden administration restored it. I'm just assuming that that's what they were thinking as they wrote this. HHS CMS should withdraw appropriated funding up to and including 10% of Medicaid funds from states that require abortion insurance coverage. DOJ should commit to litigating the defense of those funding decisions promptly to the Supreme Court in order to maximize HHS's ability to withdraw funds from entities that violate the Weldon Amendment. Additionally, California has announced that it will discriminate against pharmacies that do not carry chemical abortion drugs outside of California. California's discrimination takes the form of cutting state contracts with such pharmacies and clearly violates the Weldon Amendment. The violation should likewise face the penalties discussed above. Rewrite the ACA abortion separate payment regulations since, Section 1303 of Obamacare requires that insurers collect a separate payment for certain abortion coverage in qualified health plans that are approved to be sold on exchanges, and that they keep those separate payments in separate accounts that are used only to pay for elective abortion services. Neither the letter nor the spirit of the law, neither the letter nor the spirit of the law really was enforced under President Obama, and Trump-era regulations sought to correct this problem. The Biden HHS rescinded this regulation to allow insurance companies, once again contrary to the law, to collect and combine payments for what are clearly required to be separate payments for elective abortion coverage. Separate does not mean together. HHS should reinstate a Trump administration regulation and enforce what the plain text of Section 1303 requires. That regulation should be further improved by requiring CMS to ensure that consumers pay truly separate charges for abortion coverage. Audit Hyde Amendment to compliance. HHS should undertake a full audit to determine compliance or non-compliance with the Hyde Amendment and similar funding restrictions in HHS programs. This audit should include a full review of the Biden administration's post-jobs executive actions to promote abortion. It should also encompass a review of Medicaid managed care plans in pro-abortion states. Reverse distorted pro-abortion interpretations added to the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. The Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act, EMTALA, prohibits hospitals that receive Medicare funds from dumping emergency patients who cannot pay by sending them to other hospitals. It also mandates that hospitals stabilize pregnant women and explicitly protects unborn children. Hospitals or physicians found to be in violation of the statute could lose all of their federal health funding, Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and other funds, and face civil penalties of nearly $120,000. In July 2022, HHS and CMS released guidance mandating that EMTALA-covered hospitals and the physicians who work there must perform abortions to include completing chemical abortions even when the child might still be alive. The guidance also declared that EMTALA would protect physicians and the hospitals that perform abortions in violation of state law if they deem those abortions necessary to stabilize the woman's health. This novel interpretation of EMTALA is baseless. EMTALA requires no abortions, preempts no pro-life state laws, and explicitly requires stabilization of the unborn child. Yeah, fuck them moms, fuck them women. Am I right? Stabilize that embryo. Who's with me? HHS should rescind the guidance and NCMS and state agency investigations into cases of alleged refusals to perform abortions. DOJ should agree to eliminate existing injunctions against pro-life states, withdraw its enforcement lawsuits, and in lawsuits against CMS on the guidance, agree to injunctions against CMS and withdraw appeals of injunctions. Reissue a stronger transgender national coverage determination. CMS should re-promulgate its 2016 decision that CMS could not issue a national coverage determination, NCD, regarding gender reassignment surgery, rather for Medicare beneficiaries. In doing so, so even if Medicare doesn't cover it and they haven't submitted it to Medicare, they can't have it? Great. In doing so, CMS should acknowledge the growing body of evidence that such interventions are dangerous and acknowledge that there is insufficient evidence to... Sorry, what? No, there's not insufficient scientific evidence to support such coverage in state plans. Period. Fucking point blank period. There's not. Enforce EMTALA. Show us where that information is. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry. Enforce EMTALA. The undeniable reality of abortion is that it does not, that it does do not, what? What? Sorry. Enforce EMTALA. The undeniable reality of abortion is that it does do not. What? These people, I swear to God, do not know how to put words together. Do not always result in a dead baby, and these born alive babies are left to die. Well, no, but also those words don't make sense. HHS should use EMTALA in Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, which prohibits disability discrimination, to investigate instances of infants born alive and left untreated in covered hospitals. Well, no, but okay. CMS, OCR, and OIG should be required to follow through on these investigations with specific enforcement actions. I'm imagining them going through like the hospitals with flashlights looking for babies. Like, what the fuck? HHS should revive a Trump administration proposed regulation, special responsibilities of Medicare hospitals in emergency cases and discrimination on the basis of disability in critical health and human services programs or activities to achieve this end. In addition, Congress should pass the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. Stop it. To require that proper medical care be given to infants who survive an abortion and to establish criminal consequences for practitioners who fail to provide such care. Permanently codify both the Hyde family of amendments and the protections provided by the Weldon Amendment. Congress can accomplish this through legislation such as the No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion and Abortion Insurance Full Disclosure Act, Hyde, and the Conscience Protection Act, Weldon. Radical redefinition of sex. On August 4th, 2022, HHS published a proposed rule entitled Non-Discrimination in Health Programs and Activities. This rule addresses non-discrimination provisions of the Affordable Care Act, known as Section 1557, which is enforced by the Office for Civil Rights and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Section 1557 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, age, disability, and sex in covered health programs or activities. Under the proposed rule, sex is redefined. Discrimination on the basis of sex, rather, includes, but is not limited to, discrimination on the basis of sex stereotypes, sex characteristics, including intersex traits, pregnancy, or related conditions, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Do they not believe intersex people exist? What the fuck? In other words, the department proposes to interpret Section 1557 as if it created special privileges for new classes of people to find in ways that are highly ideological and unscientific. Like I said, are they going to pretend intersex folks don't exist? They do. They're born that way, for fuck's sakes. Anyway, the redefinition of sex to cover gender identity and sexual orientation and pregnancy to cover abortion should be reversed in all HHS and CMS programs as was done under the Trump administration. This includes the Children's Health Insurance Program. CHIP, low-income families who rely on CHIP should not be coerced, pressured, or otherwise, or otherwise encouraged to embrace this ideologically motivated sexualization of their children. So, guys, sorry, if your kid's intersex, they don't exist. Stop asking questions about it. It's a fact. Kid doesn't exist. Sorry, bye, doesn't exist. Put it back in, shove it back where it came from, make it come out right, because that kid, sorry to say, doesn't exist. However, while the Biden administration's Section 1557 regulation should be altered and corrected, the lactation room requirements added in the regulation should either be consistently included in any upcoming Section 1557 rulemaking or be proposed in a new individual rule. COVID-19 vaccination and mask requirements. Healthcare workers were praised for their self-sacrifice in caring for sick patients at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, but then they were fired if they objected to receiving COVID-19 vaccines with or without complying with onerous masking requirements, and regardless of what, those onerous masking requirements. Nobody in hospitals like wears masks or anything on a regular basis. Am I right? Again, who are we? The doctors operating on fucking Abraham Lincoln? Jesus Christ. And regardless of whether they already had the virus and had gained natural immunity, that's not a thing. Natural immunity is nowhere close to the immunity that you would gain through an actual fucking vaccine. And it doesn't last forever. It doesn't make you fucking Highlander, sorry to say. With the disease being endemic and constantly mutating, vaccines and universal masking in healthcare facilities do not have appreciable benefits in reducing COVID-19 transmission. That's not true. Throughout the community, not true. Moreover, more recent COVID strains pose fewer health risks than the earlier strains. That's because of fucking vaccines. Anyway, and the pandemic has been declared to be at an end. CMS should, let's make sure that doesn't happen. Like, get that pandemic back up, at an end? No, get those numbers back up. Come on, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Anyway, CMS should announce non-enforcement of the Biden administration's COVID-19 vaccination mandate on Medicaid and Medicare hospitals, revoke corresponding guidance and regulations, refrain from imposing general COVID-19 mask mandates on healthcare facilities and or personnel, pay damages to all, personnel, I apologize, pay damages to all medical professionals who were dismissed directly because of the CMS vaccine mandate. I see. Administration for Children and Families, ACF, TANF, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF program is a federal block grant. I don't know if I'd agree that it's necessarily a block grant, but okay, that gives states significant flexibility to fund a broad array of programs aimed at helping low-income families break the cycle of poverty and achieve economic self-sufficiency. States use TANF to fund monthly cash assistance payments to low-income families with children, as well as a wide range of services that include work activities, work supports, and supportive services, child care administration and systems, tax credits, pre-K, Head Start, child welfare, and other services. The TANF program serves 1.8 million individuals since 1996. When the program was reformed, federal TANF outlays have been $16.5 billion. The state match is $14.9 billion, bringing the total state and federal TANF investment to $31.4 billion. The TANF statute requires that states engage 50% of single-parent families in work for at least 30 hours a week. Jesus Christ. 20 hours a week for single parents with children under age 6. So states have the option to waive the requirement for families with children under the age of 6, and most do. States also have 90% work requirements for two-parent families to engage in work for 35 hours per week. What if one of them just had a fucking baby? What if one of them had has a disabling health condition. Come on, that's disgusting. Because of the caseload reduction credit, states work engagement targets are reduced if their assistant caseloads have fallen since 2005. As a result, 21 states had a work engagement target of 0% in 2017. Generally, states apply their work requirement only to beneficiaries receiving basic assistance who account for 22.3% of TANF outlays. The Trump administration proposed a supplemental nutrition assistance program, SNAP rule, to increase program integrity and reduce fraud, waste, and abuse that would have prevented an individual from qualifying for SNAP simply because he or she received a pamphlet from the TANF program. This rule defined non-cash benefits as those that are worth at least $50 a month and received for at least 6 months. The tenets of this rule should be applied to the TANF program as well. This definitional change would apply the TANF work requirements to any non-cash benefit worth $50 a month and received for 6 consecutive months. To increase transparency, HHS should clarify how states in their quarterly and annual reports ought to track and audit the outcomes from how they spend TANF funds to meet the TANF programs for statutory purposes. Additionally, TANF priorities are not implemented in all equally weighted in an equally weighted way. Marriage, healthy family formation, and delaying sex to prevent pregnancy are virtually ignored in terms of priorities, yet these goals can reverse the cycle of poverty in meaningful ways. CMS should require explicit measurement of these goals. So again, remember, if you have that kid they're trying to force you to have, this is the life you're in for. This is the life your kid is in for. So again, remember, if you have that kid they're trying to force you to have. Let's see how far this is going to go on for a few more pages. Yeah. So I think I'm going to pick this up tomorrow. I'm not sure when I'm going to be around. I have several meetings and a lot of work going on. I'm trying to kind of get through this really quickly and like speed read a little bit, and also hopefully bring some levity and humor into a very unhumorous situation. But do join the Discord, look at the notes, the whiteboard app. Created it just so that people could kind of keep an eye on what we've been discussing and ask any questions that they might have. I appreciate you guys, and I may or may not do a quick chess stream before bed, but I'll definitely be back getting through this tomorrow. We'll power